guess we'll kick this thing off. Sucks. I felt like we had like a really good flow going, and then somebody forgot to hit fucking record.
It's completely my fault.
It's a completely rookie. I called you the balls in the shaft on the last podcast.
I'm getting there, guy. I'm gonna write in my notebook, strike one.
You should. You know what? A couple more,
Strike
and we'll have to start over from one again. Because there ain't nobody that could do this like you do.
No, trying
for free.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the important part, you know. All this magical production that happens, it's for free.
All this editing genius, it's all
yes,
free.
Yeah. You're not having any fun at all. I feel bad for you. It's terrible.
It's good times.
All right, well, let's kick this thing off.
Let's bring it back.
So,
boom.
All right. So we're here. We're recording, right?
Yes.
Welcome back, everybody, to Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys. The Outlaws are on today. As the usual, we may have our field correspondent join us later, but in the meantime, I am joined by my cheeky compadre, the boat, and his editing genius.
It's like rolling the dice, man.
Yeah, it's like, you know.
You never know. You never know.
It's, you know, I would say more it's like a coin toss. It's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, it's 50-50.
You know, I feel like your odds are a little bit higher than dice.
Especially with new software, you know? I mean, it always takes a little getting used to.
Yeah, it's a little different. I'm excited to see the love or hate that we get with the new format.
Yeah.
Especially for the you know, because this is the format that we're going to be using for the live shows. So I'm excited to see if people are receptive or whether they just want us to go back to the old way for long form. So
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I don't hate this format, but it is a little tricky to get used to. So
it's tricky. It's tricky for you. I have not touched it yet, so I'm slightly terrified.
I was listening to the Mike's. Actually, it was just Dr. Mike's show in the morning the other day. Well, it was last week, and he was given one of the guys who comes on and just talks and stuff with him a little bit. He was giving some pointers, and I was thinking about calling him and see if he can give me some pointers. But I think we're pretty good so far.
There's nothing like having a doctor on your side.
You know? Oh, he's and you just feel like doctors just know more, you know?
Yeah.
And he's not even much older than me, but
he probably drank a lot more though, because he was in college longer.
Yeah, true.
You know, so
true.
Yeah, he killed all the bad brain cells.
I mean, I was in college for like 7 years. Like, if you think about it, like I was in college party mode for like 7 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Only went to school for like 2.
Yeah,
super quick.
Yeah, I think Vico's the Van Wilder of University of Phoenix, like 12 years strong. Got a bachelor's. So, it's like, wait, dude, how long have you been here?
Try again,
dude. Since the opening, he was there since the opening.
That's good.
But he made it through. He got through.
Yeah, he did.
So, what are you drinking?
Dude, since I didn't drink enough this weekend, I'm going with the Exotico.
Oh, that's tequila.
Yeah. And I got a mix of tonic and ginger ale going on with it. So,
wow, you got a lot of things going.
Yeah, just a little tonic to get it going, and then it's the raspberry lemonade ginger ale just to give it a little bit of kick.
You're gonna be like Tom Cruise in Cocktail. Like when it's time to mix drinks, we're gonna have to take a break or something.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I took a book out of your page with the tequila and tonic there, but it wasn't. It didn't have any kick to it, so I went ahead and gave it a little snap.
Really turned it up a notch, huh? You just add more tequila if you want more of a kick, right?
Oh, I guess. Yeah,
that's just good.
I mean, I do want to stay vertical for most of the show tonight.
I mean, yeah, because you got to hit the fucking stop recording button.
Yeah, I have
That's a
to
very
hit the stop
important part of
button
your
now.
job today. So,
Yar used it. Yar hits the stop button, start and stop button on the other one. Now I got to do the start and stop.
yeah, you're running the old stopwatch now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. A little bit of tequila.
Yeah. I thought I'd switch it up just a little bit.
Right on. It's good to try new things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, guy?
Dude, I have 2 jugs of iced coffee.
Of iced coffee?
I have 2 jugs of iced coffee. And
are they
like
spiked iced coffee?
No, just iced coffee.
You're not gonna put any bourbon in there?
Maybe. I don't know. The night's young.
Yeah.
I was thinking if I had some, probably.
Like old John Warner, dude.
Yeah.
I'd rip him at 8 a.m, bro. He was a soldier.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna nicotine it up and like nicotine and coffee, like a construction worker.
Yeah, nicotine and caffeine, bro.
Yeah, I think I'm just going straight construction worker today. I want to feel like one of those blue collar guys today that I love so much.
Yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give that a shot. See how that turns out. I could have a heart attack at any second.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. I mean, this is a big jug of fucking coffee, right? So
yeah, that's not small.
It's in my hands are not big.
Are they? Is that iced coffee or is that?
Yeah, it's all iced coffee.
All iced coffee.
It's too late to be drinking hot coffee. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get 2 cups. I fucked up.
Did you just make a whole pot and say fuck it?
No, I went to, and then I realized I was out of coffee. I had to go to the gas station.
Nice.
Yeah, it was rough. So yeah, if at any point, my pupils dilate real big, just keep recording, but call 911 to my house.
You start getting a little shaky. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I'm not gonna go to bed till like midnight. I'm not gonna go to bed until I have to take the kids to school for their first day.
Yeah, they start tomorrow.
Yeah. At least I won't smell like whiskey at drop off. So.
Oh yeah, I still got another week before that, so we're good for that. I'll smell like whiskey though for back to school night, which is happening on Friday.
Oh yeah,
but we have club night on Thursday, so yeah.
I gave tall guy an on nicotine pouch at back to school night tonight, and he got the hiccups in the middle of it. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, he got that hiccups. Well, we got us a nice little show tonight. We have obviously the fire report because it's not going anywhere until the snow flies, I'm thinking. And then we're going to find out whether shit's still on fire. So
we'll be in Africa.
Maybe. Do they have fires in Africa? I'm looking at the U.S. report and Canada and Mexico, like North America.
I just happened to take a peek at it earlier, just so I was kind of up to speed on the fire report, and I looked at the global one, and
nice,
like a lot of Africa is on fire.
That's unfortunate. I mean, it's already fucking hot there, and you add fires to that. We'll get into that. We'll get into that during the fire report. But so we got men's mental health. We got coaching stress, workplace stress. Death of loved ones, that one's going to be a painful one. But I think it's, very relevant. And then we got Conspiracy Corner. And if we make it there, you guys will find out. But I'll give you one topic. And it has to do with the mothership, bro. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. So what's been going on?
Questions.
Yeah. So we're in the new format, right? We talked about it last cast. That should be out soon, right? And it's going to be our live format for Rumble, and then we can either stay in this or go back to our old format for our long form show. So we're kind of dabbling. You guys are going to have to comment and let us know.
Yeah, getting our feet wet with this one, but I'm liking it so far. It's there's there's some trip cords that we have to navigate.
I think
But
I think you like it because you're in control, dude. You have the button. You have the little red button.
I fucking hate the control, man. I do not like being on the control board. Not one
You
bit.
are in the booth and on the ground.
Yeah, no, just put me in the rear with the gear, man. I don't want to be up front.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a whole lot of things your fault, right?
Yeah.
as we're finding out. So what's been going on, dude?
Yeah, nothing. I had a pretty fun weekend. Saturday. Don't remember Saturday. But Sunday,
you went karaokeing with VIKO
Oh
himself,
yeah,
didn't
with
you?
the VIKO. Yeah, the VIKO. Yeah, he was in town, so we went and watched him play or sing karaoke for a little while. And there was a lot of people there, which is really cool. A lot of friends of the show, friends of the the Bearded Viking family and all that. And it was really cool to see everybody. So that was really cool, and a lot of faces that like we see maybe once a year or something like that, or we talk to online and stuff, but really never really see them in person. And we got to see them in person, so that was actually pretty cool, and we had a good time. And VIKO got up there and did his thing. It was pretty awesome.
Did he sing his Johnny Cash?
Yeah, dude, he did a lot better than I thought he was gonna do. Yeah.
Oh, dude, he always sings Johnny Cash. That's like his go-to.
It's like the first time I went to see him karaoke, or the first time
I think it's probably the first time you remember.
Yeah.
Remember.
Yeah.
It's recent.
Yeah, it's recent.
The next time will be the first time too. It'll be cool.
Yeah,
it's like a new show every single time.
That's how my brain works.
Yeah.
But Sunday was I had a ball on Sunday. Literally, we went into the Bees game there and had a blast over there. That was a really good time. And we
just yelling at umpires.
Yeah, that was the best. That's when it got good, dude. Is when we started heckling umpires.
Yeah, you have to be in that certain beer ratio to start heckling the umpires.
Yeah, because you don't
from the upper deck.
Yeah, you don't want to get him pissed off like in the fifth inning.
Yeah, you really got to be losing.
Yeah.
Then you kept forgetting. You kept forgetting which team we were cheering for.
Oh man, their uniforms were even different. So yeah, but we had a good time, and then went and hung with some friends after, and then got my ladies and bedded down. We had a good weekend.
Nice little weekend.
Nice little weekend. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah.
How about you? Anything new? You forgot about the game?
Yeah. We drank a lot.
Yeah. Well, you guys were up in the brunch area and we're having cocktails for like 4 hours.
Yeah, that was good. I'd definitely do that again. I would recommend doing the brunch at the ball game over and over.
Jealous.
Hopefully they do that at the new place too. Yeah. I don't remember what I did Friday. I think I drank here at the house. That's what I did.
With tall guy.
Yeah, I think tall guy, Preston. Yeah, everybody came over. Yeah, it was fun. We had a nice little Friday, and then took the broken boat out.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fixed. That was
the
fun.
Broken boat.
It was fixed. Broken. Now it's fixed. Yeah, so there really was not much recovery time for my liver. So we're doing nicotine and coffee.
Yeah. You just kind of gotta take a break here. Huh?
Yeah, we're just gonna smooth out a little bit, Sometimes you gotta check yourself, make sure you're still good.
Yeah, no kidding. I had a rough day on Monday. There were some emails that came through that I didn't remember on Tuesday, so I had to go back and check things out and
mark as unread.
Yes, make sure I was on top of things because Monday was a little rough.
Yeah, that will happen after a weekend like that. I need like a down weekend where I'm not doing anything, where I can just take naps.
That never happens, man. That's not going to happen till like winter.
Yeah, that's kind of the crappy part about that. I know that I'm jealous of people that get to do that during the summer. Sometimes I think I've had like one weekend, and then after Friday or after Saturday day, I was just bored. So then you just turn it into a rally situation where you got to catch up for what you didn't do Friday and Saturday morning.
Yeah,
So,
no shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely unhinged here. Well, let's get into today's fire report. Good news, Utah is still not on fire.
Yeah,
and you know we're getting close to the end here. I think maybe another month or so of fire season.
And we had some rain come down this week that that hopefully helped.
Yeah, that shit was intense. It fucking blew the gate off my fence.
Did it really?
Mm-hmm.
What the gate to like the South 40?
North side.
North side fence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. Lifting that shit up by myself. That was an overbuilt gate.
Yeah, especially when there's like no room to walk by those rocks.
Yeah, there's like lightning and shit going on too. So that was fun.
Fuck all that.
Yeah,
man.
I told Sam, I was like, hey, dude, call 911 if I get struck by lightning. He's like, Dad, where's your phone? I was like, it's in my pocket. It'll be fine.
It'll be good. It'll be good. Yeah, it was it came in ripping through here too, man. Like hail and all that shit was wild.
I was actually surprised that no fire started in Utah because of that storm.
Yeah, because of the lightning.
Yeah.
Or just knock down telephone poles and shit.
Yeah. Well, and like all the fires in Oregon and Idaho are still going. So it's still smoky as shit outside. It smells like somebody's smoking a pig constantly.
Yeah, for like the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, California is still pretty much, it's kind of on fire. But like the real winner is not Canada. I mean, that motherfucker's burning down. But how did
Canada's gonna be gone?
How do the Mexicans not have any fires still?
They're the real winners, dude.
I mean, they're the real workhorse behind fire mitigation.
Yeah, mitigation.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it, man. I really don't.
I mean, they're doing a hell of a job.
Yeah. Cheers to you, Mexico. You guys are definitely on the fire report. Not many things good has been said about you guys lately, but you guys really know how to handle your fire.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing you guys can do, it's do migrant work and put out fires.
Oh wow! Oh, that was a header. Holy shit! And I just added you to the fire report. So the boat is now on the fire report, saying some crazy ass shit.
Oh, my bad.
You know who else is on the fire report? Oddly enough, Smokey the Bear.
Oh yeah?
Have you seen the new Smokey the Bear commercial?
I have not.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains.
There's no sparks.
But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
On fire.
I think he was bummed out because like people weren't listening to him for a long time. And now he comes at you with like I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed in you, America.
Disappointed. Oh my god.
At first you're scared because you're like, oh fuck, it's Sasquatch. Then you're excited because it's Smokey the Bear. And then he brings you down and then he hits you with the only we can prevent forest fire. I was like, what? I thought it was only you can prevent forest fires. So we're either Mandela in it or they changed the message. So
that's a good one to look back on. I'll definitely look back on the old commercials before I run the new one.
Yeah, I mean, it was really well done. It was well done. And
Yeah.
so Smokey is definitely on the fire report this week. I'm really excited that Smokey's
For
back.
him, just
Yeah,
making a
he's
comeback.
yeah, he's not just sitting on the fucking signs telling you how hot it is outside anymore. He's got his own commercial again, and he's got like really good animation.
That's fantastic, dude. We've been waiting for Smokey to come back for a long time, dude.
I don't think that we know
Long
how much we needed Smokey back.
No, I honestly I don't think so. Well, obviously, because people are still fucking up and starting forest fires. You know what I mean?
Still lighting California on fire and Oregon.
I wonder where that whole ad campaign, like even started. You know what I mean? Like, did that start? Like, who was that? A national campaign?
Yeah.
Or
I think it was
like
like
California was on fire, and they did it there, and then they made it national. Because I remember it was a national after a while, but I wonder where it like actually started.
I think it started with kids playing with matches and lighters. And then in the 70s, the Forest Service was like, we got to fucking do something about this. These kids are really fucking shit up. Yeah. I wonder if we get a big bear and we put a campaign cover on him or a Smokey cover on him.
Right.
If the kids will pay attention and stop playing with matches.
Fuck.
And then he just went away. He just disappeared.
It went away for the longest time.
Yeah.
I remember then they started putting them on signs, but I'm surprised that the commercials went away. You know,
Yeah.
those ad campaigns.
How are the kids supposed to know not to play? And it was like on a fucking Hulu ad or some shit like that too.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Oh,
Really?
shit, no.
Really reaching out to the kids now. It's just not on channel 2.
Yeah, they know where the kids are at now. They're on their fucking phones and their iPads.
They're on their Hulus and their HBOs and Netflixes.
The Netflixes, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. You got anybody to add to the fire report?
Just from what we were talking about earlier, Africa. I mean, you know, I know it's not U.S. and they're not going to see those Smokey commercials.
Yeah, that's a problem.
They might need that Smokey campaign in their lives because fucking half of Africa, like the middle third of Africa, is on fire, like
Dude,
all the way up.
Do you think they're just trying to like burn stuff now so we can't find the artifacts? Because people are wising up to their shit.
But you know, it seemed like they would have done that a long time ago, you know. But like, if they really wanted to like hide the artifacts and all that, so I don't know. I maybe, but
maybe was not prepared for this.
But I don't. Yeah, but I don't know why all that fucking land is on fire. I mean, there's a lot of fires over there, and it's not like just like a couple huge fires. It's like a lot of small fires.
Yeah. Would they like do Smokey the Bear? Would it be like Smokey the Cheetah?
I don't know. Yeah, they don't really have bears over there.
I mean, yeah, I think they have bears.
Do they have bears?
I think I had bears.
There's not a ton of forestry in that region.
Something's on fire, fucker.
I know, but like the only green that's in that fucking continent is on fire. It looks like it, dude. It's crazy. Look it up.
Does Africa have bears? Used to be home to bears, but today there are none on the continent. So yeah, really? It couldn't be Smokey the Bear. That would just freak him out.
Like Smokey the giraffe or something. I don't know.
Smokey the cheetah. Smokey the something.
Smokey the gazelle. I don't know.
Smokey the gazelle seems more like a Snoop Dogg character. That might send the wrong message. You know, just I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if I'm prepared to start this marketing campaign.
No, but I mean, it's a good start to the pitch, though.
Yeah, you know, I didn't really get a chance to write a lot of stuff down.
No, we didn't have a chance to brainstorm.
Yeah, next time we'll hit you with some good ad campaigns for the fire marshal in Africa.
Yes.
Yes, Smokey the Bat. I don't know.
There's a lot of odd animals over there
Yeah.
that we don't see very often over here.
That's true. Unless you go to Texas, then they're like all there.
Oh, speaking of Texas, like up from Houston up to fucking Dallas is pretty much raging
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
They're definitely on the fire report. They've been on the fire report since we started this fucking fire report.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dial up a hurricane to put those fires out for them. And
Yeah, they're working on it. Don't
not
worry.
to bring conspiracy and everything, but to bring conspiracy and everything, because we're pretty much batting 1,000. You like a lot of the cattle are in, Oklahoma, Texas, and a lot of the cattle lands are burning still. Started in like April, May, and those cattle lands are still burning. So it kind of begs the question, who's setting these fires? Because there's been like thousands of cattle that they've had to kill or that have been killed by these fires.
It's probably the same people that turned off the farmers' water in Idaho.
Yeah,
I read a story about that, and that's quite concerning.
Or the same people that are catching chicken plants on fire or eggplants on fire.
Oh yeah,
not eggplants. That's like the boner emoji, but like places where chickens are that they get eggs from.
Boner emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eggplant.
the egg farms,
Drip.
the egg farms, chicken farms, egg farms. Yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah, they've been setting smokers on fire and fucking those up for since the beginning of the year. There, that was
since like COVID. It's like COVID. They've been burning fucking food plants down and shit like that. So, yeah, I don't know. My spidey sense is tingling on those Texas fires.
Well, it's kind of the thing. Where are we going to get our cattle from?
Well, Idaho's on fire too. There's lots of grazing land up there.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the parts of Idaho that are on fire, it seems like are, just from quick at a glance, also grazing areas.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado's doing pretty good. The hippies out there are really keeping the flames down. They're listening to Smokey.
They're flaming in other ways.
Yeah, they're just staying in the city, which is good. Stay there.
Yeah, stay there. Don't fucking set the grazing lands on fire.
Yeah, let the men take care of that. So, yeah, I think there might be more to these fires than meets the eye in this fire report, guy.
Yeah, we'll only have to wait and see.
Yeah, it probably won't be on the news. So, you heard it here first.
Yes,
there's probably something behind these, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll check back later. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely keep that on your watch list. That's for sure.
All right. Well, we're really blazing right through this, so let's keep the momentum.
The fire puns that come out of the fire report for the rest of the cast are the best thing about the fire report.
Dude,
you're so good at those.
The puns are absolutely unstoppable. So you want to jump into some men's mental health? You want to knock out this first topic here?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Well, as everybody, like, if you're new to the show, I'm sorry, but we're glad that you're here. But for those of you that have been around a while, know that we've coached a lot of kids, coached our kids, coached a lot of strangers' kids, and it does actually involve quite a bit of stress, right? And it's really it's not the games that are stressful. I think it's the build-up and the coaching, teaching, all the kids and getting them on par. They're getting them on the level so they don't just freeze up in a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what do you think about like the coaching stress?
I really like the stress, but the thing was, because I liked coaching the kids, so I coached, if the listeners don't know, I coached you and your buddies and stuff like that. along with the old man and stuff. But and I had a lot of fun with it, and I couldn't wait to get down there and make you guys run and, and just go through drills and stuff, you know what I mean, and do all the shitty shit that my shitty coaches used to do.
Yeah, there's nothing like changing it for the future, right?
Exactly. No.
Running bases, all practice.
Run it. But I had a lot of fun with it, and it was I didn't really realize how like it'd be stressful like in the beginning of the season, and then as you got into the season, everybody kind of fell into their places and stuff, and then you'd get a good groove going on, and you'd get kind of a good get a good flow, and everybody was kind of working together and all that, and during the season you work out different guys at different positions and stuff like that, and that was a lot of fun. And you realize how resilient kids are, and how you can really get them to get behind the ideas that you have like really easy, you know what I mean? And like just get on board, and just the camaraderie is just like, it's just like ingrained in them, and that was really cool, and I really had a good time with that. You could be difficult at sometimes, like you personally.
Yeah, 100%.
But at the same time, it was all in a good way. You know what I mean? It wasn't in a bad way. It was all in a good way. And you always had good ideas. And you knew, like, by the time, I don't know, man, by the time that you were like 10 or 11, like you really had a really good mental hold on the game, and that's what I like to see, was the kids is, their mental part of the game just develop beyond our control, you know what I mean? And when you guys got to the high school level, we're just like, hey man, we did the best we could, but
good luck.
Yeah, but really like to see, because by then, like, we were Babe Ruth and all that kind of stuff. By then you were basically playing the game by yourselves, you know what I mean? We were just swapping pitchers out and made sure people had their innings and stuff like that, and it was pretty easy because you guys knew the fundamentals, and you knew when you fucked up and all that kind of thing. So so as far as that went, you guys were pretty easy to coach as far as fundamentals and stuff go. Some of you guys got mental on us a couple times, you know what I mean? But you're going through puberty, you're playing ball, you're getting yelled at, other dads are like hollering and screaming for the fucking, for the bleachers, and we got to calm them down. but all in all, it was pretty fun. And I guess the reason why I liked it on the agenda was just to, I guess, remind myself how much fun it was, and how much of a stress relief it was, even though it's like, okay, you got to get off work, gotta make sure this guy's picked up, you got to get the equipment, blah, blah, blah. But when you're there, it's like, you're involved in something that you loved for so long, you know what I mean? And teaching that to somebody else was really, really gratifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so. You're focused more like on the end result.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and right now it's hard for me, like, because it is stressful.
Right, and that's why I brought it up, because you're in it right now. Like you're in the hard years right now. You're the really hard years right now.
Well, and the thing is, like, I'm looking forward to like the teenagers, just because they do have like a better fundamental like understanding of the game. And right now, I feel like every time we start another league, we have to teach kids how to throw, like new kids.
Yeah.
Because we keep, we have like a good core, and then we have that are doing awesome. And then we get like some new kids in, and we're like, oh God, that kid's going to get killed. That kid's going to get murdered if that other kid throws to him. So basically trying to keep kids not dying from like getting hit in the face with the ball by somebody that's just throwing a laser, across the field or whatever. But it's and I feel for a tall guy, because because he's a head coach, right? I just get to be an assistant, which is like super fancy free compared to what he has to do. But then when he fucking leaves town, I have to coach, and I'm like, oh, this shit's stressful. And everybody's like, I had like
I
two
don't like
parents.
this
I had
at
like two
all.
parents yell at me, and I coached for like 3 games, and I won them. I still get yelled at. I'm like, all right.
Still got yelled at.
Like, well,
Yeah.
all
I
right,
gotta
that
know
checks
how this
out.
works, but
I'm like,
whatever.
it happens, tempers flare. And because everybody wants to see their kid play. And
Yeah.
like I very much am like, okay, well, yeah, I want to see kids play too. But when it gets tight and you're like, okay, these kids want to win also. So you throw the kids in that are going to like be successful, or they have a little bit better grasp.
Yeah.
And then that's when you get bitched at, which is cool. It happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, dude, you'll forever be the head coach, because I don't want that job. Like setting shit up on like the little apps and stuff, because now it's apps. It used to just be like a phone call list.
Yeah.
If you're not there, like practice is this day and this day. If you're not there, call. Or if you're not going to be there, call. Pick up the old rotary phone and call, and leave a message on the old answering machine or whatever.
Right.
But now it's like you got to have an app. You got to have a scorekeeper doing the app. You got to send messages out on it. You got to load the rosters in. It's like, what the
it seems
fuck?
like in the
This
attempts
became
to make this shit easier,
way
they
more
made this
difficult.
shit a pain in the ass. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like setting the lineup is cool. Like that's pretty quick and cut and dry, especially if you have like consistency and, hitters and stuff like that. Cause, coaching baseball, that's what we're coaching, right? I'm not a soccer coach or a football coach or anything like that. Like if he ever wants to play another sport, he's off the family roster, and I don't know how to coach that.
It's family coaching. Yeah.
But so like it definitely is stressful, especially with the kids that are coming into it, that haven't played as much or not as old. So yeah, just trying to make sure that kind of all the parents are happy, and we got a really good group of parents too that don't really understand what's going on. And then there's other times where it's like, okay, nobody knows exactly what's going on at all. And we're just trying to move things around and make it happen. So I don't know. It's definitely stressful. The end of the season was fun because we knew we were going to get a break. And because I mean, nowadays you can literally play baseball year round if you want.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too, because back in your day and even my day, we didn't play as much baseball as these boys are playing now. They are playing a ton of baseball, and I remember they had the travel leagues and the super league, the super leagues and all that, and that was just a lot of baseball, man. That's like all your free time. And like you said, like you can literally play them all year round, like until it snows, and then you go play indoor, you know what I mean, or some shit. It's like, it's wild.
Yeah, I think we had a break from June to last week, and then we started practicing again last week. And like everybody talks about burnout and stuff, and I think that's another stressor too, is worrying about whether you're burning the kids out or whether
Big time, yeah.
whether they still want to play or not. And getting with the parents and asking your own kids, like, sure you want to play, or do you want to go do something else? They're like, no, we want to play. Like,
well, yeah, and
we're into this.
A few casts back, we were having a discussion about Flip and his attitude at the beginning of the season. It was just like it was ready to be done, you know what I mean? And then you guys had a chat, and the switch flipped, and and he was ready to go again. And it's kind of one of those things. It's like, how are those stresses kind of, are you passing those down to the kids, or managing them, or how is that working?
Well, and So I don't think that at this point, especially, after the chat that I had with him, it's been totally different. It's been night and day. And then going into like this, as far as the fall ball goes, I think mentally everybody's a lot more on board and a lot happier
Like
because
everybody's ready. Everybody wants to play. They want to get back into it.
because we're outside. So everybody's outside, none of the indoor stuff. And they just came off a pretty decent season. They were about 500, but they won a tournament, so they're pretty jazzed. And it was really funny for this first practice back, right? Because all the kids were back and we practiced 2 days. And just seeing, how many of them were just sitting by the pool chasing the muff around, eating cupcakes. Absolutely hilarious. Like, break down.
That's awesome.
And then seeing how much each kid grew.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea that Sam hit a growth spurt during the summer because him and his friends are all like growing at like the same rate.
The exact same rate.
So it looks like he didn't really grow at all. Then he gets out on the field and he's one of the tallest kids out there again. And he started off summer ball as one of the smallest kids.
That's crazy.
And just throwing freaking piss missiles across the field. And you're like, the fuck did that come from? When did you learn how to throw?
When did you learn how to do that? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. So that makes me feel a little bit good. So I think stuff like that takes the stress off when you see that they want to be there and they're excited. Because I think every kid's excited to like go back into a season. But when you've been playing them, I think we played like 30 games or something like that. And I think
that's a lot of damn games, dude.
Yeah. And
I remember with regular season and all-stars, we'd only play like maybe
it's like 20 games, maybe 15.
That, yeah. I was thinking more like 14 or 15, maybe. And that's like if you went to the latter rounds of the all-stars,
Yeah, so I think that brings a lot of stress. And I can't speak to the football parents and stuff like that, but I know their kids are working out during the summer too, like all summer for football.
Yeah.
And I have a good friend whose his kid is I think he's a sophomore or junior, and kid's a total stud and just super tall, super fast, but has been working his ass off. And like just through the last couple of years, just seeing the amount of freaking like muscle and height and just coordination that the kids put together is insane.
That's pretty cool to see though, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? See these, especially with the athletic kids, and nothing against the non-athletic kids, but when you're coaching athletics and you're seeing these kids grow, and you're seeing, them put on height and muscle, and and you can see them get stronger, especially on the field. That's really cool to see. I like that a lot about coaching.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the cool parts about it for sure is like seeing them start to dominate and starting to like be good at their craft. And I think
just kind of have some of those things come natural. You know what I mean? That's when it really felt like, okay, this kid is, and even if it wasn't like, I mean, say for me, because you were kind of just a natural athlete. I think it took you like a year maybe to get really to get the natural feel of playing. But there were some kids that, were in your age groups that we coached that just they just didn't get it right away. You know what I mean? They just didn't have it right away. And I was one of them. You know what I mean? When I was growing up, it took me a couple of years to get the naturality of, of the catch and, pop, you know what I mean? And the catch and pop and catch and pop. It took me a couple of years. I just naturally wasn't an athletic kid, but I turned into one. But to see, those kind of things happen with, especially not either your kid or the kid close to you that you're coaching, is really, really cool to see, because then you can tell that they start getting the love for the game, you know what I mean? And love for, I guess, just the athletics in general.
Yeah. Just the love for being out on the field, whether it's a football field or baseball field or I guess basketball court or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think that's kind of the thing that I would encourage people into getting into coaching. I would say get into coaching because of that. You're going to get to see the kids grow and get better. And I think, the little feather in your cap is seeing them, at the beginning of the season versus the end, and just how studly they get by the end of the season, and know that you had a hand in it. And,
Yeah.
and I know like not everybody has time to go out there and coach and everything, but it's kind of one of those things, one of those mental things. I think especially with being a man, being a dude, you want to see your kids play, whether you have boys or girls or whatever. And, if you've never played a sport in your life and, your kid wants to play, get involved because you're not going to be disappointed. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody wants to be that dad that isn't involved in their kids' life, but especially when you have a chance to coach or really be part of the whole nitty gritty and the process, because it is stressful because you're worrying about life and job and putting food on the table and, putting gas in your car. And then you got to go to coaching too.
Yeah. And that's the stressful thing about it too, is, doing life, regular life, and then knowing that you got to put in that time, you know what I mean, on the ball field with the kids, I mean, that seems, it seems like it could be a huge stressor, especially for, someone who's coaching. Because like you said, if you're, just a baseball parent or a softball parent or a football parent or whatever, you get them to practice. You sit there and watch them and everything, and, take them home, and make sure they're, they're all, they're all wound down from
fed and watered.
Yeah, fed and watered and showered and wound down from practice or a game or something like that. And then, you go back the next day. But like with coaching, there's prep involved. There's how you come off to the kids, you know what I mean? Because, some kids you just want to cuss them out on the field and you can't, stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of pressures involved like that with too. And a lot of pressures in, the responsibility you take on, I guess, formulating these kids into good athletes and good kids, all around.
Yeah, and I think it definitely is a character builder too, right? And we talk about, taking care of the next generation and taking care of the kids. I think it's definitely one of those things where it's important because if you don't have good people out there coaching and helping shape them and, teaching them how to win and how to lose and just how to be mentally tough. And I think it's important to help shape, the kids to be good adults, eventually they're going to grow up and you never know how much of an impact you might have on somebody or, the kids while you're coaching them.
Yeah. And that's something that, you really got to take into consideration with almost every word and almost every action you do with them. You know what I mean? Is just make sure you're staying positive and staying in the right mindset yourself. You know what I mean? So you can pass that on.
Well, one of the big things that we do, I don't know if a lot of other coaches do this. I don't really pay attention to those assholes, but we do is we try not to let the kids cry in front of their team. If they get smoked or, they do something wrong and they get emotional or something, we'll just take them, or like they get a side stitch and they can't move anymore. They're just like, all right, come on, buddy.
Man.
Let's walk it off.
Let's
walk
walk
it off.
you down,
Let's
down
breathe it
the
out.
field line. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you never want anybody to, you never want the, the other team or anybody else to see you cry. Right.
Right.
Like if you get drilled in the face or something like that, then yeah, you might well up a little bit. That's all right. But you're going to get up, you're going to walk it off. But yeah, I think we just try and take them aside so we don't have that. You don't have that embarrassment for the kids later. And I think that's kind of a mental approach that we take too, because there's so much mental going on with these kids already.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, let's take them away so their buddies can't see that they just had an absolute breakdown. And we'll just walk down the line like we're having a chat or something like that, And I think it's worked out. I think it's help protect the kids. I think from, getting poked fun at and stuff like that. And, you know, I think it's helped keep the morale and everything up on the team, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know if other coaches do that, but if you don't, I would suggest you do. I think it's kind of a good system and policy to work by.
Yeah, I think every coach should. I remember, you know, even, you know, I mean, I always had pretty good coaches, you know, and I was joking about shitty coaching. I'd been put in some shitty situations, but other than that, as far as the coaching goes, as far as like being I don't know, mentally strong for the kids and showing us how to do that, I think all my coaches did, and I really appreciated that. You know what I mean? Because it was just that, you know, you get called strike 3 or something like that, or you get decleated, you know what I mean, on the football field or something. It's like, whoa.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Take me out for a play. Like,
yeah, let me walk that off.
I gotta walk this off, you know, and the coaches walk you down, you know, and make sure you're all right. And I think it's a really good thing to do, and a really good thing to show the kids that you care, you know what I mean, and to show the kids that you're on their side and you're rooting for them, you know.
Yeah, and I think, and like the kids and the parents, they appreciate it too, you know. And you know, at the end of the season or the end of the game, you know, the kid that you yelled at or something like that, they know that you know that you guys are still friends, that you guys are good friends, and
Yeah.
you know, obviously high school is different and everything, but it was hard to function, at least with the coach that I had, and well, the head coach, because you never knew what kind of mood he was going to be in, whether he was going to like you that day or whether he was just going to hate you that day for showing up
for no reason.
yeah, for no reason at all.
Mhm.
And you know, those kind of roller coasters, that sucked. That
Yeah,
absolutely sucked.
those are
And
rough.
yeah, and like I don't think we ever wanted the kids to do that,
Mhm.
because you know, you never know what they're going through. We have some kids that, you know, mom and dads don't show up, and or mom or dad doesn't show up. They're just going through like shitty times, but when they're there, they don't have to think about all that. They get to
Yeah.
forget about all that and just get to go have fun playing baseball.
And be with their friends and be
Yeah.
with, you know, be with coaches that know that that they have their best interest at heart and they're taking care of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And winning is fun. Like, fuck losing. Fuck losing all the way.
Fun.
Winning's
Right.
way more fun.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's important. I think ultimately, you know, to kind of wrap this thing up, that, you know, it is stressful going out there and coaching and trying to cut time out of your already busy life to go do it. But I think, you know, mentally, you know, as far as men's mental health goes, I think mentally it is helpful. You get to spend even more time with your kid that you might not get to spend, and you get to spend time with, you know, their friends and see the kind of kids that they're hanging out with. And ultimately, I think it gives you a better idea of the kind of kids that they're going to grow up with, and the kind of influences that they have, and the influences that you can be on the kids too. So
Yeah.
I think, at least for my mental health, that kind of helps me out, especially as they're getting older, because these kids are
Yeah.
getting into all kinds of crazy shit that we didn't get into until we were freaking teenagers, you know.
I know, dude.
And
if we can keep them as pure as possible for as long as we can,
Right.
that'd be the best.
yeah,
You
and
know?
they might not be passed out in the field drinking a bottle of Alizé at a stranger's house. You know what I mean? It's like, you never know.
You never know.
So go out and coach.
Yeah.
It's gonna fuck you up. You're gonna be stressed out, but it'll be like a good kind of stress.
Yeah.
You won't be upset about it. And this is
Definitely
coming
rewarding.
from a guy. This is coming from a guy that said I was never going to coach. Like, I never wanted to be a coach.
I remember you said that, but it's
Yeah.
it's in your nature, man. You can't not. It's really weird. I thought honestly that you would have taken over one of those teams by now. So I'm glad you stuck on that, because you're just like, nah, you're good, coach. You're
you
all
know,
right.
when you got
You're all
as
right,
good
tall
a
guy.
dude as when you got as good a dude as tall guy, Like, you don't have to take over anything. You don't have to step in.
Right.
You're just like, what do you want to do today? Let's fuck
Right.
shit up. You know, grab the fungo. Let's put some holes through some gloves. You know, just you know, having fun with it, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely important. But
For sure.
yeah, you got anything else on that topic?
Yeah, no, but that I'm satisfied with that. You're good.
All right, it's very satisfying. Well, on that,
Yeah.
let's should we get a word from our sponsor?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
All
hear
right.
what they have to say.
Hey, meatheads, meat maidens, beardos, and everyone in between. The boat here for the Bearded Viking, reminding you that our mead is a new go-to drink for all occasions. Poured out of the fridge, over ice, in a cocktail, in a slushie, or even heated up on a chilly night to warm up. Any way you pour it, you won't be disappointed. With front port shipping available in over 40 states across the U.S., Bearded Viking Mead Co. gives you the freedom to meet up anywhere, anytime. So snag your bottles at beardedviking.com. Gather your crew, pop the cork, pour them high, raise your glass, and shock 'em always, gang.
All right, let me load up. And we're loaded.
Loaded.
We are back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always enjoy a little message from our sponsor.
Yeah, we got new pictures of the new bottles in there and everything that everybody can order now.
Yeah.
Well, two of them. Yeah.
Yeah, the rest are coming. They'll be coming this week. A little bit later this week. We have weathered the glass shortage and the tariffs, and we are on our road to bottle consistency. So it's very exciting.
Wow, about that,
Very
gang.
exciting
Yeah.
times that we're living in.
Very exciting.
Took some string pulling, found a very nice lady that is the owner of her own company. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is because I don't want you guys going and stealing my glass. So suck it.
Yeah. We want all the bottles.
But if she ever watches her podcast, she'll know that I'm talking about her. Sweet lady.
Give
Anyway.
her a lady shout out.
Yeah, sweet lady shout out. And it kind of goes with our next topic, foreshadowing, not even meaning to. Amazing
Right.
how this ends up happening.
Always.
Yeah, and especially because glass is made with fire. Anyway, workplace stress. Workplace stress.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
See how those added
yeah, it really came full circle. And I think that everybody experiences workplace stress, right? Especially because, you know, half you motherfuckers don't want to be doing the job that you're doing anyway. So that's stressful.
Yeah.
And then you got, you know, somebody that doesn't know what the hell they're doing or talking about telling you what to do. And that's stressful. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of things that add into the workplace stress, right? And it turns out that we have multiple workplaces and multiple workplace stresses, you know, and I think it plays heavy on a lot of people, and it can definitely crack into that men's mental health that we like to talk about so much, and just mental health in general. You know, I think that pretty much goes for males and females, especially, you know, what really sucks is when people find something that they really like doing, but have a shitty boss, and that ruins it for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, I know you got workplace stress. You're all over the fucking place. So how does that make you feel?
How does that make me feel?
Just take a seat on my couch for a minute.
It's really it sucks. You know, because with my job,
is that like a clinical?
Yeah, that's a clinical term. With my job, I, you know, one of the hard parts about running your own business, at least, you know, in like my kind of industry or anything, is you have multiple bosses. So it seems like, okay, you're the boss, you run your own company, you do this, and you know, it must be great. You know what I mean? It's just a heyday. You know, you have all the fun you want. but not so much, because every client that you have is your boss, and every project manager that you have is your second boss. And I've been really, really, really fortunate to have really good project managers and really good clients over the years. There's been a couple standout shitty ones, but and those people I just choose not to work with anymore. But overall, most of my clients over the years have been really, really good, and it's been awesome because I've been able to more or less train new PMs that come in, just kind of my style and my workflow and stuff like that. And this is workflow that's kind of been established from years and years and years of doing this kind of work. So they've been really receptive on that, you know what I mean? But the work and the deadlines and all that is really the big stressor for me. and
Would you say it's more the loads or the work?
it's
That's
the
the stressor.
the loads, for sure.
That was low hanging fruit. I'm sorry.
and so those things, they get on top of me quite a bit sometimes, and I
Are we not doing phrasing? Like, are you doing this on purpose? You fucking slut. This is the serious part of the segment.
We always like to keep those loads light, man.
Those clients jumping on top of you, man.
And that gets stressful because you got to get the workout on time. That's just what it is. And especially like there's one of my clients that I do a lot of ad work for, and if I'm a week late on something, then it can't hit the publication that it needs to go to, right? And then I'm the asshole because I didn't get it done on time. That doesn't happen much anymore. But at the same time, it's just those things weigh heavy on me because I take a lot of responsibility on myself for that kind of stuff, and that and stuff getting done on time. And so it's a big stressor, and it's something that keeps me up at night. And I spent a lot of time working a lot of overtime and weekends and nights and stuff like that, making sure that everything was early, you know what I mean, and everything got done. And now I'm in a fortunate place to where I don't have to do that anymore so much, but and I can actually take a weekend off, you know what I mean, or at least a day on the weekend off. Now the bearded Viking takes up is grabbing that Saturday or Sunday for me, and a lot of my extra time, but it's work that I like, so I can't, you know what I mean? So I'm not, I don't stress about that too much. And with the Bearded Viking, everything is kind of, we make good schedules for ourselves and we make good schedules for our team. So a lot of the stuff is really, it flows really well, at least in my department. You know what I mean?
Audie, my department's all fucked up.
Can't say much for your department, but at least for my department, there's a pretty good workflow going on.
I think everybody but me is really good in my department as far as Bearded Viking goes. But you bring up a really good point, and I never really thought about this before, especially with your business, is everybody's your boss, even though you're the boss of what you do. I never really thought about it like that, but it's really true, because you got to make sure the client is always pleased and you're taking those loads, and you're really staying on top of it. It's no wonder why you can't grow it on your cheeks, man.
Yeah, exactly. I always turn my face.
Got me again, you bastard. So no, I think that's definitely stressful. Dealing with multiple bosses all the time, and having to crank work out on time.
and make everybody happy. Like it's some days I just want to go back to the days when I just had one boss, you know what I mean? Or just, my manager. And then but I didn't have to talk to anybody above him, you know what I mean? And that boss just went to bat for me with whatever I needed, you know what I mean? Because that's your ideal situation.
Yeah, they really took the ball and ran with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, after doing this kind of work for 18 years and having multiple bosses, it weighs on you a little bit.
Yeah, you can get real fired up real quick.
Yeah, you can get fired real quick,
Yeah, that is one sketchy part for sure. And you've been able to manage it well for a really long time. And I think that the type of work stress that you have, and having to deal with multiple bosses and multiple jobs and kind of juggling all at the same time, it's pretty impressive. And then you get out to, even doing what I'm doing is more of I kind of went from basically being a project manager and managing half of the country to managing people that are managing half the country. And then just have my boss kind of yell at somebody if we're like, if I'm yelling at them and they're not listening, we're like, well, let me call my guy.
On the big guns.
Yeah, dude, I'll bring in the big guns. And you don't want to get chewed out by Sam Elliott. And my boss sounds exactly like Sam Elliott.
Does he really? Oh man.
Looks like him, sounds like him. Big Texan. Love the guy to death. And he's the coolest boss because you can call him and just absolutely unload. And
yeah,
you piss him off and you talk to him a couple hours later and it's just water off a duck's butt. And
that's awesome.
He'll call you, unload, and it's like, all right, it was your turn. Or like you fuck up and he'll call you and he'll give you like the dad speech. You're like, I'm sorry, man, I fucked up, I'm sorry.
Not bad.
Like, I'll do better. Yeah, dude, in like your deepest Sam Elliott voice.
Worse, man.
Damn it. Well, and like I've worked with him so long. I've worked with him for about almost 13 years out of the 14 years I've been doing this. And he, so it's kind of like the people that have been there forever are like family. And now we have a bunch of new people. And we're like, man, I don't know if you're going to fit in this family. No, I'm just joking.
No one likes a new guy.
Yeah, who the fuck is this? And it's, and then, we have a couple people above him, one's solid, one is trying to figure out science and math. And you're just like, oh, dude, you're killing me. The buck stops there. And, you get those stressors. But one thing, and this may be like total bad advice, but ultimately you can put forth, your ideas and the things that you think are going to work or the things that are going to work. And then if the people at the top don't like it and they don't go with it, it's like, all right, well, in a month, we're going to go back and we're going to do this all over again. And then you're going to end up doing it my way, or you're going to have a brilliant idea that I told you a month ago that's yours now.
Yeah, that's yours.
We're going to go back and do it the way that I said to do it anyway. Right?
Yeah.
So it gets to that point where, especially if you've been somewhere for a long time, where if the people that have been there for a long time and what they're saying is not being valued, then you start to create a situation where it's like, okay, well, people aren't going to work for you, or people are just not going to do the things that, are going to most benefit, that job that you're doing.
Well, they're not going to perform,
Yeah. And, and like we've had performance issues along the way, with with people that are on the team and other supervisors and stuff like that. But it's like, I think everybody goes through their ups and downs, but I think that's a huge like linchpin in creating something good and creating like a lasting product is listening to the people that have been there for a long time and taking their ideas and then listening to the new ideas and figuring out whether those two are going to mesh or whether the people that have not been there for very long, whether their ideas are too short-sighted or don't have that long-term effect. So there's definitely a case of having, too many people running around and not enough people kind of tightening the screws down to get them in shape. And I think that creates a lot of stress. And I know, I can't speak for, the regular blue collar worker. I guarantee you we could have Turnbuckle on and he could give us all the work stressors of running your own company and doing a blue collar gig like he's doing, and making sure that everything is done right, done on time, you're not losing money, and even our field correspondent, Murph, he's been doing blue collar work all his life. I'm sure that he could attest to that work stress and how that work-life balance can just be completely off. And like right now, at least for me, work-life balance is it was really good. And then we started Bearded Viking. And then it was like, okay.
Yeah, it's like,
there's a lot of work, but we still get out and have fun and everything. But it's really, with Bearded Viking, it's figuring out what we have to do next, because we've never done this before. We didn't step into this and take it over from somebody else. We're building it and learning as we go. And everybody has like the big grand ideas of where we want to be and how we want to get there. But I think meshing all those ideas together and getting to where we are now, or meshing all those ideas together, have kind of got us to where we are now. And now we're just we're past the launch phase, right? For Bearded Viking. Now we're kind of in the growth stage and figuring out how to grow and grow it. I guess I'm losing my words. I've lost my words. I can no longer speak. It's the coffee. And no, it's responsibly. Growing it responsibly. That was the one. That was a fucking tough word. Words are hard.
I'll match it up there.
No, it's good. I'm just gonna throw another Zenny in and I'll have all the words. Anyway, so yeah, and actually grow it responsibly, and kind of check the boxes and do everything that we need to do. I think with as many moving parts as there is, that's what makes it difficult for me personally, because there's so many moving parts and we're never in the same place at the same time. So trying to take what everybody wants and produce it and make it happen, those are the hard parts, I think. And once, we figure out all the processes and how we want to do it and how it works for everybody, I think that's going to be huge to getting us to the next level. And I think we're definitely well on our way,
Yeah. Well, and I think that, I mean, you hold a pretty hardcore position at the Bearded Viking too. And to be fair, that's a it's a top level position to where some people in other companies or other corporations, spend 60, 70 hours a week, doing, you know what I mean? And you're trying to crunch it in about, 10 or 15, you know what I mean? And when you can, get some stuff in, on top of that, you know what I mean? So, that's really kind of, one of the struggles too, I guess, with Bearded Viking is that, we're all sacrificing, family time and I guess just relax time too, to get this done. And I think that, everybody understands that. which I think that's a good thing about our nucleus, that everybody understands that, and everybody kind of is on the same page, and because they know they're all doing the same thing, um, and I think that it says a lot about our group, you know what I mean. But it still doesn't it doesn't negate the fact that there's stressors involved, and not to bring this all onto the Bearded Viking or anything like that, and that's kind of not where we're going with this. But at the same time, those extra things about about work stress and about just how that can affect you in general is really kind of something that you have to kind of keep in the forefront, you know what I mean? So you're not like just going off on somebody, or you're not ripping into a vendor or something like that, you know what I mean? Because they didn't have your shit on time, and really kind of making sure we're keeping that shit in check, you know what I mean, mentally.
Yeah, well, and I think just using Bearded Viking as an example is kind of, I think it's good in the sense that
Yeah.
it shows everybody that like opening your own business is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And the pressure that's on the team in Montana and Vico and everything is immense, because they have a whole lot of stress there that they're doing, and they're trying to push things forward. But at the same time, you have the support roles that are doing their thing too, to make sure that things are there when they need them. And, that this is getting pushed forward, and, that we're reaching an audience, whether it be with this or just regular advertising or anything like that, doing what we're doing and being able to start it and kind of light the torch and catch fire across the United States. It's pretty impressive for the little band of merry men that we have, because I mean we've talked to people that do this for a living, as far as ads and stuff like that, and they're pretty impressed with how the hell were you guys able to do this,
Right.
and where I'm just like, well, we have Vico Koresh, so that's you can't say enough about that. And then you have the team that's supporting. You're right. He's just going out and murdering cells all the time, and
Right.
keeping the doors and the lights on. So and even if we double back to what I do daily, where you're always one email away from a congressional and having to hear from a senator. You're always
Yeah.
it's
That's gotta be stressful in itself, dude. I think I mentioned it before, like I could not do your job, dude, because
no, there's
I've got off on a couple clients and a couple PMs before, and like if that was somebody that was in that kind of position, I'd be unalive. I think
so
by now.
one, I think and so I refer to my boss as the old man, right? Because not because he's older, but because I've always worked for a colonel, and we always called the colonel the old man. So he's kind of the colonel now, right? But me and him have had many talks, and like I said last time, the government doesn't pay for my keyboards anymore, because I know if I break them, I can't write back. So you just take it like, darn it. I'm still finding keys from the last fucking keyboard. But yeah, just for somebody like me too, learning, not self-control, but I guess learning how to like take a deep breath and just like walk away for a minute and trying to come back has been a huge growing pain or opportunity. I guess you could say opportunity, right?
Dude, yeah, that's huge, man. That's huge.
Yeah. And trying not to be angry first is something that I've really been working on. and been trying to alleviate the work stress by not just being pissed off and angry all the time. Because ultimately, I'm like, fuck it. Like, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. If I'm pissed off about it and like I internalize it, I'm the one that's gonna die sooner. They're just gonna hire somebody else to do my job, right?
Right.
So really, it benefits me none to get worked up about it, and really to like start sailing shit through my office, and like,
Fuck it.
yeah, dude, like you got some shit up there, but I know that everybody's work stress is different, and I think that really no matter what job you're doing, I think it's important not to internalize the stress from it. And whether at the end of the day you sit on the deck and have a cold beer or a whiskey, or you just sit there and stare off into the sunset or whatever, it's important to have those breakaway times where you're not internalizing it, because you're going to go back tomorrow and that shit's going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's like that whole saying, like, if you have a bunch of shit going on in your life, maybe a vacation isn't the best to do, because you're going to come back and all that shit's still going to be here when you get back, and it's going to be worse, and there's a lot of people that when they get super stressed out, they just shut down and they're like, fuck it, and don't do anything, right? So I think with the work stress comes that whole work-life balance too, where it's like, you got to find something, whether it be, going out and shooting guns, or going and playing golf, or having a meet up with your buddies and just kind of doing the drop by, all the shit that we've talked about, to try and get that stress off your plate, because that shit will fucking kill you.
I think you're right. And that's, that leads to other health problems and shit like that. You know what I mean? When the high blood pressure and shit like that, and doc's like, what kind of work you do? And you tell him about your job, and he's like, God damn, man. When's the last time you had a vacation? Right. But you're exactly right. Getting out and doing those things, and getting with your buddies, getting with your wife. I really like that you guys, you do your date nights and stuff like that outside of, our golf days and our, in the car club and stuff like that. And, and, cause I think that we definitely make a huge effort to make recreational time for ourselves,
right?
And whether it be, like I said, whether it be just hanging out and barbecuing and drinking on the deck, or if it's 36 holes of golf, or a mini vacation with the wife or something like that. I think we all do that, do that, consciously and purposely, to so we don't fucking die at a young age from a heart attack,
Right.
And it's important that people realize that, doing those kind of things and getting that stress relief is really important, to not only to your fellow coworkers and your friends, but your family too. You know what I mean? Because your family takes the brunt of it, and no matter what anybody says, your family does take the brunt of it, and that's a really, 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 really tough thing.
Oh yeah, well, and you talked about like the date nights and stuff like that. That was totally something that J Balls instituted. She's like, she gave me a gift on Christmas with, I think I've talked about this before. She gave me 12 envelopes with 12 dates already written down on every single piece of paper. Yeah, so like every month, like my present from Christmas, still every month I get to open up an envelope and figure out what her and I are doing that month.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool, because it's like, surprise, motherfucker. Cool. And it's
you didn't have to plan it either.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck it, let's go. This is gonna be cool. Like, I don't have to plan what's for dinner. Like, I don't have to do anything. but that's kind of like, yeah, and that was her attempt at making sure that we had, well, not her attempt, but it was her goal was to make sure that we had at least 1 or 2 nights a month where we just did something, just us,
Yeah,
you know,
fuck everybody else.
without the kids, and yeah, and it ended up being like super cool. I look forward to like the first of every month because I get to open up a new envelope. So I'm like a kid on fucking Christmas. I'm like, what's in this
Right.
one? You know, are we gonna get a new car?
Like,
Nope.
no, it's not boat
No.
shopping.
Fuck. All right. But like for instance, like this month we're going on a hike. You know, just the two of us. We're gonna go up and go hiking and just like we went on hikes and stuff before. You know, when we didn't have the kids and we didn't have anything to do. Like, well, we don't have any money, so let's go fucking hike up this road, or you know, whatever.
Around the woods, yeah.
Yeah. And so like we get to go on a hike this month, and I thought that was like really cool because she wrote down all these ideas, right? And you know, she writes a nice little message and everything, and so kudos to her on planning those things out, because she knows that work was going to get, she knew that work was going to get more and more intense with Bearded Viking, and then we still had day jobs to take care of, and then baseball and sports mixed in there too. So she like had the forethought to start planning that shit out.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing too, you know, because her job got pretty stressful too, and still is, you know. And that in that as well, you know, she's taking care of her own mental with that as well, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I get it. Like not everybody has a, you know, a ride or die like that. But I mean, I think that's important to plan out, to try and get rid of some of that stress, because you know, us as dudes, we'll just sit there and internalize it, and then before you know it, you're like, fuck, and just you know, have a fucking meltdown and break your keyboard at work or some shit. So I think little things like that are important, and it might sound like a little thing, but it ends up being a pretty big thing, you know, over time. So, you know, for all you dudes out there, I just told you an idea that my wife did for me. You could still do it for your ladies, you know,
Yeah.
or significant other, and you know, just surprise. You know, it'll get you out of the house. It'll get you doing something, and take a little bit of that stress away, and not have to worry about anything for, you know, a day or night or whatever.
Yeah, it's a really good thing to do. I think you know, and I've seen those like date planning journals and date night things and all that kind of stuff, and I think that's it's a hell of an idea, especially for couples, you know what I mean, that are both working hard, and you know, you both feel the stress, but and you know, and the stress of the kids. I mean, the stress of the kids alone is like, my God, you know. But to, you know, to do those little things for each other is pretty big, you know what I mean? And I think if, you know, I think if more people did that kind of things, you know, we wouldn't see, you know, the divorce rates so high, you know what I mean?
Dude, we should sit down and we should write out a date night calendar for you and Murph. And it would be like, even though you wrote it down, it would be brand new to you. If you got to open up an envelope each month, and you and Murph just go out and just have a hell of a time. Go hiking, you know, two man camp in a 1-man tent, you know, just shit like that. I think you guys would fucking have a great time.
You'd be married in no time.
Yeah, you just, you know, you guys could have some real nice stuff.
Real nice stuff.
You don't have a boat? It's okay. I got one. You know, just, dude, that dude's a genius. You know, you want to bring a chick home? That's okay. I'm not going to be jealous.
Dude, I think we need to do the man marriage.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Start getting bennies. It's like that that movie. I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry.
Oh yeah.
I walked downstairs and last weekend, and Murph was watching that movie. I was like, see? I was like, you guys just got to get a man marriage. It'll be perfect.
It's a sign, man.
But yeah, I mean, so the work stressors, I think everybody's stressed out from work. Everybody's working too hard for too little pay. And I think it's important not to let the stress just completely melt you down. And, coming from a standpoint of where work has completely melted us down in the past, and trying to work out of that and not stay in that same cycle, I think is really important for dudes.
Yeah, and I think it's important to kind of keep those things in your conscious mind,
Yeah.
and really think about, plan to get those stresses out of your life. You know what I mean? And plan to, plan to find a workaround, something like that. You know what I mean? So you're, I don't want to say constantly battling it, because I think that would like cause more stress, but doing some proactive things to lessen it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And like mini vacations are easy, going camping and stuff like that. It's pretty easy, especially, I guess, especially where we are geographically. I know on the East Coast, it's a little bit harder to just kind of pull a camper up somewhere and go camping, or go and find a place to pitch a tent or whatever. I don't know. It might not be that hard. In some states on the East Coast, it's not, but others it is. We're pretty fortunate here where we can just kind of walk out the freaking door and be in the woods. And like those mini vacations are cool, man. And then once you go on those, you can write us an email about the squatch that you found, or whatever kind of crazy shit that you found out in the woods that is the reason that you're not going back into the woods anytime soon, and that you hate us for saying get away on mini vacations, and we can talk about it.
Well, it's even the staycation too. You know what I mean? Those things cost little to no money. Even if you travel a few hours away, you know what I mean, in the same state, you know what I mean, and you hit an Airbnb, you know what I mean, or you go down for a little golf vacation, down in down in St. George, or you're even so I was golfing with Unc a couple weeks ago, and he's like, hey, when's the last time you've been to Wendover? And I'm like, fuck, dude, I haven't been to Wendover in years.
Last time I had money to go to Wendover.
Yeah. And that used to be our thing, you know what I mean? And he says, well, you want to go? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I was like, depends on if some extra money falls into my lap, then I'll go. And so he's like, hell, man, just bring $100 and we'll sit on a blackjack table for a little while, and then we'll go play slots or something. You know what I mean? Get some food and stuff. And I thought, well, you know what I mean? I could burn $100, out there. You know what I mean? Right? We all ride down together and chip in on gas or whatever. But it's little things like that too. You know what I mean? And you get that cheap ass smoky hotel room. You know what I mean?
It says no smoking, but you're like, fuck it.
Yeah, you're smoking in it anyway.
Yeah.
And just have a good time, I mean, just little things like that. And you're right. I mean, haven't been to Wendover or Vegas because like, I don't have money to blow out there. And that's kind of, this economy is just one for the books, but anyway, you know what I mean? Little stuff like that, that don't cost you an arm and a leg still, you know what I mean? It helps you reset,
Yeah, well, and the thing is too, like about Vegas and Wendover, and for those of you who don't know Wendover, it's right on the Utah-Nevada border, and there's a bunch of casinos and stuff. It's like a little Reno town almost, but quite a bit smaller than Reno. Mm-hmm. But the thing about those places is that even when I go gamble, I don't really gamble that much. Like I've lost more money in Vegas and won more money back in Vegas than I have ever won in Wendover.
Because dude, Wendover never win in Wendover.
Dude, I am so ADD. Like I can't sit there on like a slot machine, or I'm just like drooling on myself. And free drinks start coming to me on the blackjack table, and like before I know it, I'm like drooling on myself. I'm like, I gotta go. I just want to dance.
Dude, the most money I've ever won out there is I think I won like I got down in blackjack. And then I got up to the original money that I put in. I took that money and I went and put it on black. You know what I mean? And then I hit it on black. You know what I mean? And so I doubled it, and I'm like, cool. And then me and Flynn just sat in the sports book the rest of the Sunday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, cool. And just basically drink for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I think that like I've never won in Wendover. I think I've lost like a combined like $400 in Wendover. So I think I've been out there like 4 or 5 times, and one time I didn't even gamble. And I was like, well, fuck it, that's it. Like I don't really care. I'm gonna hit the Lee's liquor store, and on the way back, and I'm gonna have a great time on Sunday afternoon.
You're right.
At home. You know. Yeah. But yeah, just like things like that, and just kind of like I'm not a bad gambler, but I don't have the attention span to sit there and gamble all night.
Well, and I'm not a bad gambler either, but I don't have the money to put in enough to scare somebody else. You know what I mean?
Oh shit, this guy's high rolling. I'm gonna pull my chips back.
Yeah, or to make it worthwhile, you know. And I can't sit on like a hold'em table for 6 hours. I can't do it. You know what I mean? I can't do it. And you know, I like to play hold'em, and you know, we've had a couple, you know, games where we gathered some, you know, fellas together and played and all that, and that's fun because you can get up and, you know, and do your thing and stretch out for a little while and do the thing. But like, you know, in a casino or something like that, dude, I just don't. You're right. Like same. I don't have the attention span. I don't have the wherewithal to do it. You know what I mean?
There's too many like flashing lights and things dinging, and I'm just like, what?
Well, yeah. Now you got cell phones and you got people texting, and you know you're on different threads and stuff. And then they're questioning what the fuck you're looking for. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm like, and I'm always getting yelled at for touching the table in like inappropriate spots. They're like, keep your hands above the table. I'm like, oh fuck, sorry, dude. No.
The cards only. Like I sorry. Didn't read the rules.
One more time, you're out of here. Like, why is there rules for different shit every place we go?
Shit, man. Yeah, exactly.
But it is fun to go and do trips like that. Like I love going to Vegas and just going around and drinking at all the different bars. And like one of my favorites is the Cosmopolitan, because there's always like some speakeasy. So like I'll find myself in a kitchen. They're like, wrong one, asshole. I'm like, oh shit, that's my bad.
Nope,
that's on me.
Bad.
I was looking for the other door that was leading to the kitchen. You know, just trying to find random shit throughout the hotel. And that shit'll keep me busy for like 3 days.
Yeah, right.
And I'll never spend a dime on like the tables or anything like that. I'm like the worst Vegas customer ever.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun shit to do in Vegas now, man.
Yeah. It's like if you can afford the room to go down there and stay, then you're good. You just buy a little booze.
Doing other shit than gambling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And don't come home feeling like a complete fucking degenerate.
Right.
Spent fucking mortgage money at the fucking baccarat table.
It's so funny, dude. Jersey Byers. You know, you remember Byers, right?
I love Byers.
Dude, that dude wins so much money. He lives down there. And like every other weekend, he's like, yo, my guy, I got like $5,000 from the slot machine, you know, and he's always playing slots, but he's got them figured out. So he's always him and his wife are always pulling home like G's. And he's like, oh, but I had to put like $400 into it. Like, well, you came out on top, guy. You know.
Well, you know, those are the kind of people that, like, you know, they have the attention span for it, they have the gall for it, and you almost want to give them like $300. Like, bro, can you
turn this into
for me
$325? Because I'll take it.
Or at least make it, you know, I mean, make a good effort, and if you can't do it, get me back to even and give it back.
Oh, dude, he was born for that place too, you know. Retired gunny, and he's just he's in it, dude. He's in pig heaven. He loves it down there.
How long's he been down there now?
I think he's been down there 3 years.
Yeah, it's not very long.
But he's got it all figured out, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Does he have a boat yet? He should.
No, dude, he has a e-bike. Like one of those e-bikes that's like the mountain bike version.
Yeah.
And like he's out there tearing shit up. It's so funny. Like he'll text me if he crashes and shit. He's like, oh, I gotta go to the chiropractor. Like I don't bounce anymore. He's got like cactus needles stuck in his back and shit. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
He's doing it in the desert.
Dude, he's hardcore, dude. He'll send me maps of like fucking like an 8-mile trail that he burned down. I'm like, holy shit, dude, you're intense.
I just saw a story tonight on Inside Edition where this guy, I guess he's notorious for those e-bikes and stuff, but like he's wrecked like 30 times on those fuckers, and he's in the hospital again because he just wrecked or some shit like that. But
That
yeah,
will
if you
happen.
don't, if you're not in some open spaces and well, and he's riding through the city, right?
No, dude, he's like on the trails. He's out in the
No,
desert and
this
shit.
this cat that I was talking
Oh
about.
yeah, that's
So
that's fucking. You're gonna get hit by a car.
yeah, just riding in the death lane, and they think they're like motorcycles, so they can just kind of what's it called? Just
Do
kind
the
of
old
weave through.
weaveroo.
Yeah, and yeah, but I would rather do those in open spaces. You know what I mean, like the desert.
Oh,
Or
you wouldn't even
dune.
know by looking at his that it was an e-bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're it's like a Frizzelli or for something. I don't know. I almost bought one. And then I bought the Challenger and all that money dried up.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, dude, I could totally do that. Like, it'll hurt, but I'll get back up. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
Like, take my own med pack with me so I can like tourniquet my fucking leg when it gets smoked by a railroad track or some shit.
Yeah, but I mean, you got a helmet on and some, some padded shirt and padded pants. And I think you come
I need
out.
one of those fucking airbags that, like, when you go to fall, it's like
Yeah, like
to soak up the cacti.
What was that jacket on Back to the Future or whatever?
Yeah, dude, it's real now.
It's real.
It's real now.
Shit's real, man. The hoverboards.
Yeah, so we've digressed a little bit, but I think we've gotten away from, the workplace stress, right? Everybody does different shit to get away from it. Whether you're taking small trips, you're taking your e-bike out and running trails, or, and I got quite a few friends now that are doing that. And I didn't even know it was a thing. Really, I never really thought about it.
Well, and I think that too, adult hobbies are important, because we had hobbies as kids. And some of those hobbies, have kind of transitioned into adulthood. But I think having those adult hobbies really, really help with that stress relief. You know what I mean? And staying true to them, whether it be, going to the gym every day or, getting on your e-bike and just ripping ass through the desert or, or going on a mini vacation or golfing or what's the big game now here with the paddles?
Oh, pickleball?
Oh, the pickleball. Yeah. The pickleball.
I don't know, man. I don't know if that one's for me. A big old fat guy on the court just like, it's like fat old guy tennis. See, and I'm trying to figure out, like, you're talking about adult hobbies. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm an adult or not. So, like, I don't know.
Over 30 hobbies.
I'm over 30. I'm just trying to figure out whether I need like another hobby or something.
Yeah, well, and we got hot rods. We got a lot. We got a lot of hobbies just in general. I mean, I think we're pretty loaded up on hobbies. You got the boat, you got the hot rods. We do, I consider our drinking a hobby for most of the time. We're figuring out how to smoke meat.
Right. They're just like, you know what, this meat smoking hobby is getting expensive because of all the booze.
The best.
Yeah, I mean, you and Rob came and saved me a week ago, 2 weeks ago now, I guess.
Oh yeah,
when the hot rod broke, it's still sitting out there just waiting.
And that's a fun hobby, and we've talked about it too before about just the car shows are getting monotonous. So, we haven't done them as much. We do big ones and, the ones that we support, the other big clubs. We go to those. But like cause there's so many now, like, there's literally 2 car shows a day. It seems like, you know what I mean? That you can pick from, especially in the summertime. And then the weekend, there's, it's just like, well, if I go to this one, this guy's going to get mad. If I go to this one, this guy's going to get mad. But if I don't go to any of them,
nobody gets mad.
I go golfing instead, fuck them. Nobody gets mad.
Well, and the thing was, is like when we started, there wasn't as many car shows. And now it's like kind of really blown up. And hot rodding is one of those hobbies where, you either have to have like you and your wife, or just be like a single guy or be retired, because
Yeah.
dragging your kids to a car show all day is just murder, right? Because it's hot and they're like, this sucks, Dad. Like, we already saw these cars last week, you know?
Right.
And then you're just talking with your buddies and they're like, Dad, I'm hungry. Dad, I'm thirsty. Like, Dad, I want to go do something else. I'm like, yeah, so do I. Let's go. You know?
Right.
So it's like a single guy, you know, you and your wife, or like a retirement hobby. Like, I could see like going to a bunch of like car shows if I was retired.
Right. Like every
But
day.
yeah, just to like get out of the house and do something.
Well, you know, and it was a lot of fun getting the kids into it at first, especially like, you know, before I was divorced. And it was even, you know, it was even just as much fun, you know, taking them to shows and stuff, here and there, you know, after. But it got kind of to the point to where, you know, now they're kind of into other things and they want to do other things. So it's like, and sure, like they have the appreciation for it now, you know what I mean? And I think that that's all I really wanted them to know and to see. And then, you know, later on down the road, if they want to do it themselves, then I'll help them do it, you know?
Mhm.
But now they're kind of like, you know, like you said, I mean, they're kind of, you know, pulling at your shirt the whole time. You know, they're complaining it's hot and this and that, and they're hungry and all that. And so it just kind of gets boring for them, you know, and then it's starting to get fucking boring for us, you know.
Yeah. Well, then it gets
You
like
know,
expensive. Like, if you have a hot rod, you'll never be a drug addict because you won't have money for it.
yeah,
And, you know, so I mean, it's a cool hobby, but you're right. I mean, like, adult hobbies, they, you know, they get expensive, but I think it's important to do for yourself to get away and get that stress relief. And, you know, there's a lot to be said for that. Get your mind off it.
Mhm.
Forget about work for a little bit.
Well, and you know, now I think that it's, you know, the stress relief has turned into, you know, you cruise over to the car wash, you wash her up, cruise down, hang with the guys, or go, cruise to a show for just a little while. And then, you know, you cruise back, especially you got a little bit longer drive than I do. And it's all, you know, it's all highway, which is nice, you know, and it's nice to get them out and open them up on the highway and, you know, roll down the windows, let the wind blow a little bit and, you know, and just kind of put some things to bed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
While you're running. But yeah, and it's kind of turned into a little bit different, different way to think about it now, you know?
Yeah. I'm more like a park my car on the outside of the show kind of guy now. So I can just leave whenever the fuck I want.
Yeah, definitely.
But so we got another topic to get into. So let's take another break real quick and we'll get back into it.
Hey, meatheads, meat maidens, beardos, and everyone in between. The boat here for the Bearded Viking, reminding you that our mead is a new go-to drink for all occasions. Poured out of the fridge, over ice, in a cocktail, in a slushie, or even heated up on a chilly night to warm up. Any way you pour it, you won't be disappointed. With front porch shipping available in over 40 states across the U.S., Bearded Viking Mead Co. gives you the freedom to meet up anywhere, anytime. So snag your bottles at beardedviking.com, gather your crew, pop the cork, pour them high, raise your glass, and shock 'em always, gang.
Yes.
All right. And we are back. So you really loaded this up with a heavy topic at the end. And I don't think you realize how relevant it is right now. So
No, it happens every time, dude.
I know. So our next topic is dealing with the death in the family, right? So, I mean, obviously, I want to pick your brain first, and then I'll tell you how relevant it is and why it's relevant right now, at least for me. But yeah, what got you thinking about that?
Well, because I've always kind of been, I don't know. I mean, when death happens close, you know, I mean, it hasn't happened in our immediate family, you know, thank God. But but you know, it's happened plenty in our extended family, and I've had buddies that have passed, you know, prematurely, you know, and one of our closest cousins, two of them actually, have passed, and you know, and uh, I was thinking about it just recently, just because of, you know, I don't know, it may be close, you know, in some of the extended family here, and so, but my whole thing was, I just kind of wanted to get your take on how you dealt with it. I think that over the years, I don't want to say, you know, I don't want to come off cold. Like, I don't want to come off cold at all. Um, because it is, you know, it is very hard. It's very stressful, and it takes major toll, and it's, you know, it's life changing in some ways, for people. And but I've always kind of looked at it as it being a part of life, and I guess I'm a little upset with myself because I don't get super upset over it anymore. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's a part of growing up or part of just kind of my defense mechanism. You know, trying to deal with it. That, like, my way of dealing with it. Um, but it's almost kind of like, you know, it's God's will, you know what I mean? And obviously part of our lives are dying, you know what I mean? And then you look at, you know, if you look at it at a little deeper, a little wider level, it's like we're all kind of dying a little every day, you know, in one way or another. and and so I kind of wanted to just get your take on, you know, how you deal with it. I mean, you have, you know, the the guys that, you know, were in the Corps and stuff, and you know, I know that you guys, you know, experienced a lot of death with friends and guys you got really close to really fast, and I know that that's like that's on another level, you know, and I don't know, if I've ever kind of had that, um but just kind of wanted to get your take on, you know, I guess that subject, and how you deal with it, and how it may be something that you hold on to, something that sticks with you, something that, you know, gives you nightmares. You know, how does that work? How does that work with you?
I don't know. I think it's probably situational. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. I think with me, it's kind of one of those things that I understood at a really young age. Um, Especially, you know, I basically was there for every step of the way watching our uncle die. And so it was something that I learned at a young age. I think I was like 5 or 6. And it was probably, you know, you know, gut wrenching, and as hard as it was for, you know, his immediate family, you know, his wife, his kid, all of his friends and everything. It was a good experience at that point because it was sad, but it was also a very, very happy time too. And they celebrated him. And their way of mourning was, you know, celebrating him. And, you know, everybody kind of coming together for that and telling jokes and funny stories and, you know, different events, and just because he was a cool guy. Right. And you know, I got to know him for, you know, 5 years, and most of that I was a little kid, you know, and, you know, so I saw him all of maybe a handful of times or anything, or something, but great dude the whole, you know, and everybody's stories and everything, listening to him, you know.
Oh, yeah, they're fantastic.
He was a really celebrated man. So I think I got to learn about that at a very young age, and I think it was probably beneficial. And then just a few years after that, you know, our grandma passed away, and, you know, I was there from the second she went into the ambulance till the second she didn't come out of the hospital. So, and I was like 7 or 8 at that point. So, I mean, it happened really quick. It was just, a few months after our uncle died and stuff. So I got to experience a lot of death really, really early. And so with me, it still resonated and I got to see it. But at the same time, it was, it was sad, but our family just kind of celebrated the life that they had. And yeah, they sure everybody, mourns in their different ways, but it brought everybody together and everybody kind of told good stories and fun stories. And our aunts and uncles talked about their childhood and, all that stuff. Right. And then I watched, my grandpa die. And I watched our other grandma die right after that.
Yeah. Other grandma
then
died.
Watched my favorite grandpa die, just because, we had a relationship like, everybody wishes that they had with their grandfather.
Oh yeah. You two were like this.
Yeah. And then, and I was a teenager at that point. So I wasn't really involved with him as much as I should have been because you're a teenager, you're fucking dumb. And you're trying to do teenager things,
You're doing your own things. You got your friends and stuff. Yeah.
And so that one probably hurt me the most, but in the end, it sat with me, but it didn't ruin me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was probably 14 or 15, something like that. So still, fairly young. And after that, it really kind of, I don't know. I just kind of, I wouldn't say walk away from it. And I think this is going to sound really fucking weird, and I think I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I can feel it when death is there, and it'll stick with me, and like I won't be able to shake it off. Like you can feel it, like there, like something there, not like haunting, but it's just like it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can't get it off me, and it stays with me for a week or so. And we had, I found one of our good friends not too long ago, and I had forgotten about how that death sticks with you, or sticks with me anyway. Mm-hmm. And it like latches on. And, I found one of our good friends, who had a heart attack, and lucky it was me.
Lucky it was you. Yeah.
And not his, wife and kids. Mm-hmm. And I was more than happy to have that burden,
Yeah.
And them not have to, and just be there to be like, it's okay. Like, and just be consoling, and not have them have to walk in on that, but still the same thing, that feeling of death in the air, even though it wasn't, somebody in my immediate family or anything like that, it was still close. And
it's crazy.
I can just feel it. It's like, it's on my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's in the next room when I go into it. And it's not like haunting or scary. It's just, especially in a situation like that, it's like, I know that I did everything that I could.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing that I could have done better. And it kind of came back to like the Marine instinct and just knowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that same thing, it stayed with me for like a week or two. I didn't have like nightmares or anything like that, but it was just kind of like, okay, like it's all right. Like everything's good. And I don't know whether that was like good for their family or good or for them or not, that, a close family member found him, or how they feel about that. I know that they said thanks. They were thankful, that I was able to go and do it. But at the same time, like that feeling stayed there for a long time, for, a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really get me down or make me sad I think it's it's more like melancholy.
Mhm.
Oh, it's like, fuck, dude, that's a bummer, but there's nothing you can do to change it, right? So you can
Yeah.
go and I think I'm more apt to celebrate them than mourn them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. And that's kind of how the feeling that I have is that there's no amount of tears, or there's no amount of being mad at the world or being mad at God or anything like that that's going to change it or bring them back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. I don't know that I've ever cried at a funeral.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
either. And I don't know if that's something wrong with me
and
or
that's what I
what.
thought. That's what I thought
You guys,
that's what I thought for a long time
you look around the
too.
pews, you know what I mean, and everybody's bawling and crying. It's like I'm just thinking about the happy times that I had with them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm thinking about the stories that I'm going to get to hear. You know what I mean? After and stuff like that, because everybody remembers that kind of stuff. It's sad, but everybody remembers that stuff and talks about this stuff after someone dies.
Yeah, and the thing is like it kind of makes you wonder, like, what are people going to say about me when I kick the bucket? And
Mhm.
I don't know. It could be tomorrow. It could be I could be the last one. The last one standing. Who knows? But
Yeah, sometimes that scares me, by the way, of what people are going to say about me after I die. Look at my
they're going to
funeral.
say exactly what you think they're going to say. No.
Great.
Don't worry, dude. I'll take care of it. Dude, I'll give it like a funeral speech and a best man speech at the same time. It'll be awesome.
Oh, nice. That'll be awesome.
And nobody's cutting me off, dude. No, but where it really hit me, and this is why I think this is like kind of profound that you brought this up, and people are gonna, think what you want to think. But tomorrow is the 2nd anniversary of Gunny dying.
Oh, the old gunner.
Yeah. So that turned
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that turned me into a 7-year-old little girl.
Yeah.
And it's just because he was with me through thick and thin. He never had a bad word to say about me. And, he was always there, right? And Gunny is a dog, for those of you who don't know. I got him while I was in the Marine Corps from another Marine. And that was rough, right? And pun intended. Rough.
Rough.
Nothing.
Are you?
All right.
Yeah, I'll do a.
It was curtains, but that was tough. That was fucking hard because, and it's gonna be hard tomorrow. And it was just a pain point, right? Because I knew he was going downhill, and then he jumped. We got a puppy, and he had 2 more years left. I'm like, he's never gonna die.
Yeah.
And then it came time where I was like calling the guy and like bribing him to come here to the house to put him to sleep and to just bag whatever client he had before me and get here. And I was like, that's all you have to do. I will do the rest.
Right.
And, that was one of those times where I sent the kids away with grandma, and just Justine and I took care of it. And that was one of the most painful, like, things that I've gone through. And it might sound stupid because we're talking about humans and then I'm talking about a dog, but I think some people are going to relate with that.
But that's that's kind of the thing. Like, how do you the difference between dogs and people? I don't know why. And I'm a dog person myself, and I had a real rough time with the dogs that I had to put down. But I had a harder time with the dogs than I ever did about people. You know what I mean? I didn't have to actually put somebody down, but at the same time, it's like, you know what I mean? The passing of dogs were 10 times harder than passing people.
Well, and like a correlation that Justine made today too is because I was going to take his ashes and spread them at the gorge, but I've canceled the gorge trip every year since he's been dead. We haven't gone to the gorge,
dude.
and I don't know whether it's like a
Put that
like
two
a
and two.
inadvertent. Yeah, I didn't either until she said it. So I don't know whether it's like a subconscious thing where I'm just like, I don't want to go back,
Yeah.
or whether it's just been like, I don't want to spend that much money to go, or whatever it might be. But I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Like the gorge died with him.
Dude. And I'm okay with the gorge dying with him because, I mean, we had a good run up there. He had a fucking great run up there.
Oh, yeah. He'd go out for his morning swim. You know, we used to call him the sheriff. The dogs would get out of line and he'd start getting crazy with him.
That's where he got that nickname, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it'll be the 2-year anniversary, and it just seems like, so what are you gonna do? Like, you gonna be all right? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I was like, I still got a bottle of whiskey up here on the shelf that, you know, I'll be taking a sip out of tomorrow, and then I'll probably go get another bottle of whiskey and you know, work on that a little bit. But that is so funny that you brought the, you know, the death of a family member up and how that really weighs on your mental health.
Yeah.
And I was talking to VIKINGS 2 days ago, Monday. And, you know, he was kind of tore up because, you know, he's had some deaths in his family lately too. So it's kind of really like striking a chord across the board. And, you know, he just recently dealt with, you know, the anniversary of Monty passing too. And then, you know, so now I'm going to go through it again also. And it's just like one of those things that, you know, it with him, I still call my other dog. That's a big black dog. I still call him Gunny all the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, Dad, do you mean Jackson? I'm like, yeah, I mean Jackson.
Yeah.
But it's just,
it's
you know,
gonna happen.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Like I still have that dog's collar hanging from my rearview mirror with like tufts of his hair still like attached to it.
It's still attached to it.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, that one was rough. And that was a rougher death than I think I've ever experienced.
Isn't that wild? I mean, I understand why though. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you have people that you spend time with, but that guy was like there all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We went on road trips together. Like, you know, we married Justine together, you know.
Right.
We used to go to Arizona and pick her up from college on like a 96 or 72. You know, drive 6 hours there, drive 6 hours back so we could hang out for like a day and a half and then drive her back. And then, you know,
right.
Like he was my guy, right? Every time I was going on the truck, he was coming with me. So it was, yeah, like I don't know that the truck that I sold Mom, the blue truck, that will ever leave the family. I'll probably just buy it back.
Just buy it back.
I'll just buy it back. But it's just kind of one of those things. And that's, you know, terrible to say. But JT and I have said it multiple times. Dogs are way better than people.
In a lot of cases, they are. Yeah.
You know, they're always there for you. They always know what's going on, you know, and they kind of speak to you and, you know, your guys' own language. So
yeah, they do. And they have the sixth sense. They know when you need them the most, you know what I mean? And that's they're never not there, you know, when you need them the most.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, that's painful and it'll be painful tomorrow, but you know, I'll get through it and then it'll be in, you know, 3 years next August. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of a loaded topic from the beginning, but still, you know, it's still important. It's very important, especially for people that are going through loss, you know, as we speak, and people that deal with it differently than us. You know, everybody mourns in their own way. But I definitely think it should be celebrated. Like their life should be celebrated. I think more than maybe mourned.
Yeah.
And, people might say easy for me to say, but at the same time, it's like there was, that was the toughest loss I've had.
Mm-hmm.
I went to go feed the dog, singular, because Gunny passed dinner that night, and I like filled up both bowls, and I was like, oh God,
Oh no,
oh fuck, he's not here, and just fucking lost it. I just had to go, and the kids are like, Mom, what's wrong with Dad? They're like, he's gonna be okay. She's like, oh God.
Right.
It was just like, oh, all right, we're all leaving. Kids, you're feeding yourself dinner.
Hey, we're all even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, first time I've ever been turned into a 7-year-old girl.
Well, I mean, as you should, though. I mean, it shows you have heart. And, and I don't know if this is actually, going to help anybody out there or not. But, I mean, I think it helps you, to talk about it. And, and it may just be that way of, dealing with it that you maybe thought that you were doing it weird or wrong or whatever. But you're doing the same as we are. And I think that that's okay because, I guess it's more of a just a call out to say, hey, it's okay to deal with it in your own way. You know what I mean? Just don't be destructive and don't be destructive to yourself. You know what I mean? And you'll get through it. It'll pass and it'll hurt a little less every day. You know what I mean? And then, every anniversary year, it'll hurt just a little bit less. You know what I mean? And I think that you brought up a great point about, it should be celebrated rather than mourned, because I feel like the more it's mourned, the more you're going to hang on to the sad feelings, you know what I mean? And the feeling of loss. But if you're celebrating it, then it's all good memories, you know what I mean? And it's all good things, and it's all things that maybe you can pass on as something new that you bring to your family or to your friends or something like that, a new tradition. And I think that makes it a hell of a lot easier.
Oh yeah, well, and I think like the Vikings and like the Indians have it right. They celebrate it. They celebrate Valhalla. Indians do a totally different send off, but it's still in celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And plenty of other cultures around the world. Those are just the two that pop up immediately. So I think they got that right in the sense that, celebrate them. I'm sure that everybody did, does at least a couple of badass things while they're here, or they're just fun, lovable people. So, I think it's like you said, it's important that people do it their own way, but, hanging on to the sadness is, that's crushing.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the happy times and think about, and celebrate it, I think. And I think it comes a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, and when it does hit, you know what I mean? Just like it's going to hit tomorrow for you, you know what I mean? But as long as you're celebrating them, that blow doesn't hurt as much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, I'll drink about it a little bit tomorrow, pour one out for my homie, and then, we'll move on. And, that'll just be how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was definitely a loaded topic, and it came at the perfect time. You can't be mad about a topic like that, especially what you were talking about. What is, I guess, what I'll go through tomorrow, and what Vico just went through, having a couple people that are close to him that just passed. So I think it's important to get out there, especially for, men's mental health, ladies. I'm sure that y'all do it, the same, but different. But yeah, I think it's an important thing that's maybe got more stigma behind it than maybe it should.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. We're not getting out of this motherfucker alive.
Yeah, but at the same time, we obviously know that it's hard losing loved ones, losing people, and definitely losing your best friend animals, and that's it's just a reminder um to not push those feelings down, and actually sit through them for a little while. You know what I mean? I really think that, sitting with them and being in them and actually letting yourself feel them, you know what I mean, is the healthier route to go, rather than just, trying to push them off and, say, well, I'll deal with this later, or it's like, well, this doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? When deep down it really does,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's good to have the little reminders and stuff, and, to think about the cool things that you did too, while,
Mhm.
the people were here, um, the pets were here, and all the good times you had. Because, dude, I mean, 14 years, that was like 14 of the most impactful years in my life. And it was with,
Yeah.
and the pet,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
he was my guy. He was, I got married. I had our first hairless puppy, and he was like, "What the fuck, dude?" Then we had our second hairless puppy, and he's like, "I like this one." Conrad would use him as a lounge chair and just sit there and have a good
Awesome,
time
man.
with him. And then, you know, his time was up, right? So we checked out. And
Well,
I'm just like, dude, that was crazy. And the only thing that I wanted when I came back from Japan was to get a fucking dog.
yeah.
Like, I didn't care about getting a girlfriend, like none of that shit. I wanted a dog,
Well, and those were like serious growing times for you, you know what I mean? And he was right there, and just plugging along right with you, you know what I mean? Just making mistakes, just hanging out, eating fucking cheeseburgers, you know what I mean? Drinking up late,
Exactly.
going to visit Justine. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
It's
it was
so awesome.
just it was a crazy time, right? From spending his days hanging out in my bedroom while I was in the Marine Corps to, going on road trips, to roaming all over the fucking house and having a backyard and shit, and being poor, moving in with mom and dad, getting a
Right.
house, getting another house, like it was
Seeing
just,
hairless puppies be born.
yeah, seeing
Yeah.
the hairless puppies. Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck is this? They smell funny."
He's like, no one asked me about this.
He's like, "Why don't you ever run these life things past me before you do them, dude?"
Right? It's like, they're not gonna eat out the bowl on the floor like me. What the fuck, man? They get to sit at the table.
Right?
They get to eat
Exactly.
scraps. Yeah.
he had a newfound love for the kids as soon as he figured out goldfish and Cheez-Its. That was
Oh
his
yeah.
jam. Yeah.
Kids are great for that, dude.
Yeah.
And then
Dogs.
then they become best friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they're homies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, it's, bringing it back, definitely deal with it in your own way. And if you need people, if you need somebody, make sure that you're reaching out to your tribe, your clan. Make sure that you're reaching out to your people, and
Mhm.
let them know that you're having a hard time. Because when you're going through those hard times, I think we've all learned at this point that if you don't talk about it and you don't really kind of unload on somebody, it's just going to keep you down for even longer.
Yeah. And it's just gonna eat at you and eat at you and wear on you and just create havoc in your soul,
Yeah. And then it just becomes this gigantic weight that you can't, it's too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the important part. Just get it out, talk about it, and then, you can start to heal and move on.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, should we get into the next segment and make this a little less sad?
Yeah, I think we need to do a cheers to Gunner, though. I mean, I'm going to see you tomorrow, but not until a little bit later.
Well, cheers to Gunner.
Cheers to Gunner.
All right. Well, let's jump into the spooky and weird, the conspiracy
Ooh.
corner. So lead us out on conspiracy corner, bro.
So for Conspiracy Corner, I came up with a couple topics, and there were a couple things that I ran into. I was I wish I was a little fresher on the first one, and we may not even get past the first one because I know that you probably got some ideas on this one. And I like to hear them because this is a kind of a new thing that's kind of been thrown out there a little bit. And I know some people have a lot of different opinions on this. But I ran into a story on a podcast, and the guy, like, he actually introed it, and he's like, "You gonna think I'm crazy?" And he's like, and I thought I was crazy for even entertaining this. But he starts getting into the hollow moon theory and how it was placed there. And it wasn't, it wasn't a satellite. And then he gets into a bunch of reasons why he even gave it a chance to talk about it or think about it. And some of the points that he brought up were really, really crazy. And I wasn't able to do a refresher. I wanted to have it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, because that's when I saw it and that's when it was fresh in my head, but I wasn't able to get to a refresher today. However, it's very interesting, and there's a lot of information out there that that could go either way. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy. And one of the biggest things was he talked about astronauts when they landed on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
They heard an echo, like when they landed.
It rang like a bell.
It rang like a bell, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the first things that this guy brought up, and I was like, whoa. And I had kind of heard that before, but then just kind of wrote it off. But there was a lot of other things that kind of went into that theory that were pretty interesting. And I don't know. What do you think?
So
I don't want to think that it's an artificial structure.
So,
but there's a lot of things that suggest that it might be.
And I'm trying to remember the math right now. But the reason why is because it's mathematically impossible for a moon to be in such a perfect location between a planet and the sun, to actually work the way it does and to act the way it does. I thought it was, so it's 238,000 miles from Earth, and I'm trying to remember the division. It's not half, but I think it's like a third. Let me see. Where's my calculator? It's almost a third. Is that right? Yeah, it's pretty close. It's about a quarter of the distance. Just quick math. I'm sure that our field correspondent will fact check me. But I did the math for Marines, MCI. Those of you that know. But so it was like mathematically impossible for a moon to shape that close to a planet and have like the tidal effect and everything and work as a satellite, as a natural satellite,
right,
for a planet like ours. And this is just going off of like what we've been taught in school, right? So who really knows? Like, I've never been up there in a rocket. Like, I don't think you have either. But maybe one day.
My ticket yet.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I'm afraid that like a second I buy that ticket, I'm gonna end up like those assholes that like went down to the trench and the fucking sub crushed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
Just
like
so
I'm probably
happens.
not. I'm probably not punching that ticket anytime soon because I don't want it to be like all Titanic and shit. But um, the distance from the moon to Earth is like 238. What is it? 238,000 miles.
Mhm.
Almost 239,000 miles. And the way that it sets up between the Earth and the sun and the way it kind of rotates, like, doesn't mathematically make sense.
So does it rotate? Does it have its own rotation?
Sorry, I meant the way the Earth rotates, and
Okay.
because there's always the dark side of the moon, right? So it
Right,
it
right,
doesn't really rotate; it's just static and
right.
going
It's
around
just
us.
that. Yeah.
And the way it creates eclipses with the sun and with other planets, it can only happen if it's that certain distance away.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people saying that it was like towed here, or it was pushed into place or, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a fucking movie about it. They made a whole ass movie about it. And when Hollywood makes a movie about something like that, they're usually throwing something in our face
Mm-hmm.
that is like, hey, dumbasses, like, this is really what's going on, but you'll never know. And there's like people that have come out and told stories about going to the lunar base,
Mm-hmm.
and going to like Luna. I think it was called what was it? The Lunar Defense Force, LDF. And then, leaving from the moon to go to Mars. And the way it's all like working in conjunction, and when you have people talking about like the math and everything that goes into it, and I don't remember exactly what it was. It just doesn't really make sense that it wasn't put here by,
Mm-hmm.
you know, by design, whether it be, God's design or whether it's something, other planetary to keep this planet working the way it's supposed to. Because this place would be a shit show without the moon, as far as
Right.
our rotation and tidal, like tides and
Mm-hmm.
volcanic activity and everything. Basically, it stops volcanoes from doing what they're supposed to be doing, and just having this
constantly going off. Yeah.
yeah, having this place be just a total fucking wasteland.
Yeah, and the
So
tide's just doing whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. Just because you figure our rotation, if we're rotating as fast as they say we're rotating, our tides would be going in the opposite direction, just out of fucking control, right?
I mean, you would think, and if the Earth is spinning as fast as they say that it's spinning, it would be a problem.
Obviously, it would create its own gravity, so there would be a little bit of regulation on its own. But I think, but it seems like from what we've been taught that they would just be going crazy. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and then you have like the astrophysicists that say that we're moving through space,
Mm-hmm.
and that we've been moving through space for, hundreds of thousands of years. And I'm not really buying that.
I'm not buying that either.
Well, and just using like pyramids and the stars as a representation. If we're moving if we're moving that fast through space, there's no way that the summer and winter solstices would align with pyramids and Orion's belt. And most of the pyramids that have been, uncovered or refound are lined up with Orion's belt, or lined up specifically with some kind of astrological like star system or something like that.
Yeah.
All of it would be fucked if we're moving that
fast
fast through. If we're rotating this way, rotating around the sun, and then blasting through fucking space.
Yeah.
Unless we're all blasting through space and those stars are blasting through space at the exact same rate. And I'm not an astrophysicist or anything, but that should just, That dog doesn't hunt to me.
Well, what are the chances that those say other galaxies even that we see and that we've seen that we've been aligned with for centuries, what are the chances that they're blasting at the same direction we are at the same rate that we are to where we see where we see them annually? You know what I mean?
Again, it's like a mathematic impossibility. And
Right.
Going to I forget what the guy, I forget what his name is, but basically saying that all these civilizations are anywhere from like 11 to 12,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Randall Clarkson, and I forget what the other guy's name is. He just did the History Channel show. But that means that the pyramids were there before the Egyptians were there. And that means that a lot of the stuff in like the Inca world and the Maya world were there before the Incas and the Mayas. That means they found this stuff and they celebrated it. And now there's people saying that the rainforest, the South American rainforest, was man-made. It wasn't natural.
Really?
Because like the fauna and everything there, and it like the whole everything it doesn't make sense. The flora and the fauna just does not make sense where it is in South America and even in like southern Mexico.
So you think it was like planted? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, they're saying that there's a huge possibility that man planted that.
And they're saying too that there is shit in the Amazon that is still unknown to man.
Yeah, well, they're doing all these LiDAR scans now from above and using drones to do it. And they're mapping out portions that people have not even gone into yet. Mm-hmm. And they're finding structures that are huge, just absolutely massive. And I think it's Bosnia, the biggest pyramid that we know of is in like Bosnia. And the Bosnian government won't let them excavate because it's just under a mountain. Really? So now at this point, like every time I'm driving and I see a mountain, I'm like, that's a fucking pyramid.
Could be a pyramid.
Yeah. Because these guys just were digging one day and like found an entrance and then they reported it and all of a sudden they can't dig there anymore. And they've been trying to like lobby the government to uncover this thing. And they're like, I don't think so. And there's some like that in China too, that are just covered up by foliage. So
do you think that the governments know that they're there and they just won't let them excavate because they don't want the secret to get out? Or do you think that they're just kind of being dicks about it and we don't want you excavating our land?
I think that they all definitely know more than they tell us for sure. And I think, and that's kind of why the war stuff does not scare me anymore, is because nuclear war, I think, is out of the question. And I think that these governments talk more and they're closer than they let on. They're closer to each other than they let on because they're all doing the same type of shit and covering up the same type of shit.
That makes a lot of sense.
That everybody else is doing. Right. So to have that kind of coverage and like being able to erase that much history, there's got to be people that are like, nope, you're not going to do that. And they have to talk about it. Right.
Yeah. Like they all have to be on. Like that's really what the UN is about. It's not about the bullshit that politics are talking about. It's probably actually all about like hiding the fucking secrets that they've known for centuries.
Yeah, and I think the UN is more of just like a scare tactic thing. It was something that was created after World War II. And I think it's there just as a scare tactic. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were passing information like that. But, you have these big, huge corporations and globalists and everything that know a lot more than we do. But if they let us know, then they can't hold us down. If they know that there's renewable energy and that it's free and then you can get it from the sky, then the power companies go out of business. If you know, and one of the things too, this is crazy. I just learned this. A little known fact about prohibition is people were making their own hooch, right? And they were pouring it into their gas tanks, and cars were able to run off this hooch. And everybody thought it was just prohibition. We're getting rid of alcohol. Well, one of these little known facts was that people were running their cars off it. So they weren't buying oil. They weren't buying gasoline. And that right there, it creates, you know, an energy independence, right? If you can go out and take your table scraps and brew up a nice big batch of gas for your car, then you don't have to have big oil. And big oil was still coming along, right? We were just fresh out of the Industrial Revolution. So you have steel and oil and gas, and you have all these big, huge things, pharmaceuticals, all these things that are made with oil-based products. And then they're like, nope, we're taking this away. Yeah, I mean, it clearly didn't work out. But by the time it started and it was over, those little things had gone away.
Yeah, those little things have been washed. Yeah.
So getting back to what's going on with the moon, it would not surprise me one bit, whether it's by intelligent design or whether it's, you know, something that God put there. It was definitely put there. Right.
Well, that leads us into our second spooky topic, and they kind of go hand in hand, and that's kind of why I included it. Is the mothership? You know, there's been you know, a few reports, and a couple of them were very nonchalant, like more nonchalant than
oh, there's a spaceship heading our way.
Yeah, than I think that maybe should have been. But yeah, some people are saying that, you know, it seems like from what they're looking at is the mothership's kind of coming into place. Now, you know, I mean, to go a little bit on the deeper end here and put our tinfoil hats on, you know, could that mothership have put the moon there, and they're just kind of coming in to check on things, you know what I mean? And see how their little satellite project is doing, you know?
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is they thought it was just a gigantic asteroid that was, you know, football fields long. And then it started making intelligent corrections and movements around planets and stuff like that. And it's like, that might be a spaceship.
Well, that was the whole thing. There was some intelligence around the way it was moving, and some of the ways it was moving, it was kind of defying gravity laws too, you know?
Yeah. Well, and then that begs the question, is it theirs or is it ours?
You know, but are they us? I guess that's the even bigger question.
Well,
are
maybe
they us
you have
a you know, a previous, just yeah
a little well, I mean, you have the Nordics that look just like us, but they're bigger, they're taller, and they're more ambivalent, you know, people say. And it sounds like what I forget what it was. I think it was like 12 different. I saw this thing. It was like 12 different species are just trying to keep us alive and not blow ourselves up, but they've just about had it with us because we keep using like direct energy weapons to bring their ships and stuff down. And they're like, okay, these guys are starting to be assholes because they're trying to be like ambivalent. And we keep doing asshole stuff.
Keep doing asshole shit.
Yeah. We keep Chinesing the shit out of their stuff. And it's like, you cannot deny that there's direct energy weapons because they've shown them on TV. They've started to put them on Navy ships, and it's happened. I've talked about it. I've talked about Dugway. They've brought down, I think, 2 or 3 Chinese satellites at Dugway, and another mathematic impossibility for Chinese satellites to be falling out of the sky and land at Dugway every time.
Yeah, just yeah, on a whim. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's a shit ton of stuff that's going on that they don't want to tell us. And there's, I don't know, especially with these buildings, like it makes me think of like the World's Fair, when they used to do the World's Fair, and they'd put up all these temporary buildings, and they're made of granite and stone, and they're beautiful, but they were just temporary, and they took them all down. But everybody from that era is dead. Nobody can speak to it, but we have things that are left over from those times. Like even when we were just in Nashville, they have the oh, what the hell is it called? It's modeled after a Greek building. Hang on. Oh, the Parthenon. They have the Parthenon in Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. Well, I guess in Nashville, just outside of the city. And that was a building that was part of the World's Fair. But if you look at old pictures of that building, there was huge buildings with domes and all kinds of stuff around them, with, you know, these big spires and everything that they built just for the World's Fair. And they built these buildings in like 18 months.
So do you think now where are you making the connection? Do you think that they're making these buildings for the ambivalent to come and stay in and hang out, or what kind of connection are you making there?
I think so. The connection that I was making is that, like, Tartarians, right? That they had all this technology to build all this stuff, and then they've kind of been erased from history unless you go back and find old history books, like pre-1920s.
In maps, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that all this stuff was dug up, and then they tore the stuff down. So not a lot of people lived in Nashville at that time. And then they did the World's Fair there. And then they took down all these other buildings, but they left the Parthenon. And it's, you know, it basically looks like a newer version of the Parthenon that's, you know, that we all know from Greek history and everything else. So there's, I think in the early United States, we either had these people building this stuff, and nobody wants to say that it was this civilization that did it. Because if you look at all of our buildings now, they're ugly as shit.
Oh yeah.
Right? And they're not built to last long. And all these stone structures are going to be long. They're going to be here way after we're gone.
Yeah, especially granite.
Yeah, so if you have a civilization like that had that, you know, mastery of building things, and then they're wiped away and nobody can talk about them anymore, and then you start getting into like different history of how, you know, every time they dig down, they find like footings and other buildings under buildings, and it just keeps going and going and going
on top of buildings. Yeah, I saw a few of those, dude, and that was kind of a trip.
Yeah, it's super thought-provoking. And, you know, we've digressed a little bit from the alien aspect, but there was somebody here that knew how to do it a lot better than we did, a lot better than we do. And now there's a lot of people saying that, like, they took away bells because ringing of the bells and stuff like that, that sound frequency would heal people. And that these domes and spires were actually up high enough into the atmosphere that they were collecting energy. They were energy collectors, so it was powering the cities. So there's a gap in history there that we don't know about. And I think because of the internet and social media and things like that, there's a lot of disinformation out there, but there's a lot of real information to weed through to try and figure out what the fuck is going on.
Well, yeah, I think there's at least enough breadcrumbs for us to kind of find what's actually happening and what was actually there, and maybe at least some of who took part of it, or took part in it,
Well, and it makes you think, because they're trying to get rid of these books as fast as people can find them. And even to this point, now they're rewriting and taking stuff out of the Bible, whether it be in print or digitally. So if they can go through and start erasing different things from the Bible, and a book as old as that is, then they're trying to get rid of the other books, there's something in those books that they don't want us to know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pissed that they taught us how to read.
Well, I mean, we talked about how a lot of this, we think that a lot of this has a lot of connection into everything. And just so happens, I was listening to this guy on TikTok about how Satan was the prince of the earth, and so everyone here was he could try to make them worship him. And when you go back to those kind of things, it's almost like, are those things kind of falling into place for the second coming? Like, I don't want to dive too deep into religion here, but at the same time, like, it seems like all these things that you see happening, like the washing of history, like even if they're going to go start washing stuff out of the Bible, and hiding these things from the past that they don't want us to know, they don't want us to see, they don't want us to learn, they don't want us to discover, because it takes the worship off of him. And it seems like the big worship on him now is the money, you know what I mean, and the material things that he can provide through I guess man's disdain. But if you start to take your eyes off of that, then it takes the eyes off of him, you know what I mean? So it all seems to kind of be coming back around to this thing where, maybe, and it may not even happen in our lifetime, but maybe things like that are starting to, roll into place.
Well, I mean,
as far as second coming goes.
Take for instance, like the Book of Enoch, it was rediscovered in like 1773 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Mm-hmm. But nobody before that, it had already been a forgotten book, never made it into the Bible. So was it washed from the Bible by the Catholic Church then? And, kind of that prehistory? Or was it never included? But there's already been things in it that have been found to be true. Mm-hmm. Such as like Nephilim and giants and all that. Right? So if more than one history is talking about it, one culture's history is talking about it, then it's probably has some basis in fact, right?
Yeah, and at least a little bit.
And if they're washing history of certain things, right? The victor always writes the history, right? Mm-hmm. So if they're washing history for some reason, then there's something that they don't want us to find. And if people go out and find it, then it's going to be a really scary time for the world governments and economies and everything else, right? Yeah. Then there's no more overlords, But
it'd be a beautiful time for the people, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but they don't want that, because then you don't have people just working their asses off to pay bills, right? Then really the only thing you'd be working for is like a house and maybe a new car. But then you wouldn't need the government to power the car. You wouldn't need the government to power the house. You wouldn't need, the energy from, the government and these big organizations. You would just need a smaller economy to build the things, and they could probably be built more efficient and not have these big power plants powering the factories. So it would be cleaner. There would be less reliance, and people would be back to basically just working for their homes and to put dinner on the table. And it would be a lot easier and a less discombobulated.
Well, it seems like they would lose their slaves then, you know what I mean? Because all of what they've created that we have to rely upon them for, that puts us all in slave mentality. Now, yeah, there's gas and energy, stuff like that, which is a couple of our top two, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, I mean, citing our fire report, and you know what I mean, and these beef grazing lands that are now mysteriously on fire, and those cows
they're making lab grown meat now.
Yeah,
so it's just another product that they can sell.
Mm-hmm. And another product that we have to rely upon them for,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean we're basically all a slave race, right? Humans are just a slave race. We're basically in chains. We're basically in chains, enslaved to the powers that be, whether you're black, white, Cuban, Asian, Chinese, whatever. I guess Chinese is Asian, right? Black, white, Cuban, or Asian, it doesn't matter. You're enslaved by that government because they're controlling the power and all the money.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of possibilities if that history is actually dug up and found. But if it is, and people start breaking away and doing these things, they're fucked. The governments are fucked, especially if the masses figure out how to do it.
Well, in that it's brought to the masses' attention, you know what I mean? In it before the who whatever founders can be caught, you know what I mean, and silenced by the government, or the power.
I think it's just going to take a couple people that release how to create the free energy and how to harvest the energy from the sky, basically, and release that for free on the internet, and just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. I mean, there's a guy that freaking just did it with he basically built a coil and put it on a drone, and the drone was able to power these small engines just with it being tethered to the earth as the ground, and then having it come off as a positive on these little machines. And he had the machines running while the drone was up in the air, and when he brought it back down, it kept going because it was like a perpetual cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just sending a drone up. I think it was like 100 feet or 200 feet, something like that. And the higher up it went, like the more power it created. And like he even put like the little voltometers and everything on it, checking his ground and checking the voltage. And it was on there. So there's power up there. Just figuring out how to harness it to power your house is going to get you sent to jail at this point.
Well, that makes me
unalived.
Unalived. That makes me think too, is like, I guess why they let the solar panel industry stay as an industry in itself, I guess, because that seems like too easy, you know what I mean? Too easy to shut down. Because
you don't know how much power it takes to create a solar panel. They're inefficient from the second they leave the factory because it's taken so much energy and so much mining and everything else to create the solar panel.
Well, but there's that regulation though. There's everything that doesn't go into your place. It has to go back to the grid, right?
Yeah. And then they let you do a battery backup, but your battery backup's going to work for like a couple days. Like if you have a couple cloudy days, you're effed. And the solar panels don't have a very long lifespan. And I mean, it takes cobalt. It takes all kinds. So all those that hailstorm that just happened, I think it was in Texas.
Mhm.
Over all of those solar fields, it caused irreparable damage to that whole solar field. And now the chemicals that were used to make the solar panels is leaching into the groundwater, and it's starting to kill animals.
Oh my God.
So the solar panels are not safe. They're
So
inefficient.
in one way, yeah.
It's all like nickel, cobalt, and some other shit that's used to make these solar panels. And I'll never put them on my house.
Yeah, there's a couple of people in the neighborhood that have them, and I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah, they're all over here too.
Mm.
And you know, some people swear by them because it lowers their energy bill or anything. But I'm like, okay, if they're on my roof, like, what's it leaching into my house
Yeah, no
with
shit.
that many chemicals like coursing through them? I don't know. That's just me. But on that note, let's wrap up Conspiracy Corner.
All right, buddy, let's do it.
All right, you got some shout outs?
I got one shout out.
Okay.
Other than the normal, the boys at the meadery just slamming shit out and doing that week in, week out, because we didn't have to have it open on the weekends or anything like that. We didn't have to kind of create that that place for people to come and hang, but we did, and like we went the extra mile on doing that, and it's taking it's not easy. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to get the food trucks there every week. It's not easy to just meet and greet and all that, and make sure everybody's safe. So number one, shout out to the gang that's holding it down out there, because we can't, we got to be here doing this, and they're really pulling a ton of weight down there, you know what I mean, by getting the meat out there and doing the thing. So first off, you know what I mean, shout out to them, because they're rocking and rolling, and we couldn't be more happy about the job they're doing, or more thankful for that as well. My second shout out is Turnbuckle, dude. He's on another level right now.
He really is.
He's kind of taken on a little bit different role. I was talking to Vico while he was here over the weekend, and I was like, so what's his title now? He's like, I don't know. He's just, you know what I mean? He's just doing his thing.
He's just burning it down.
Dude, he's kicking major ass. He's kind of dipping into the ground force marketing squad, and because he's all over the place all the time, so he's just stopping into places and talking to him. Like right now, we're talking about doing, he hit me up about doing some artwork for a few more places that we've got. And last week he was like, hey, I need artwork for a few more places that we got, and a few more places. I'm like, really, dude, what? And so like every week he's just like, yeah, we got this and this, and I'm like, dude, you are knocking it out of the park, bro. And he's got some great ideas on how to market in those places and stuff like that. So you know what I mean, the guy is kick-ass at his job, and we've shouted his day job out before, but what he's doing for the Bearded Viking is another level, dude. And he's
coming from the top rope every time,
dude. It's just hammering the elbow, bro.
Big
all
time.
Over Stillwater County. It's a beautiful thing, and Billings and Bozeman. So yeah, so second, and big shout out to Donnie. He's killing it, bro.
Definitely, 100%. Good job, Donnie. You're the man,
Daddy.
All right, well, with that, let's get out of here. Yeah, we will, as always, cheers, motherfuckers. Stay weird, beardos.
Shock 'em always, gang.
And we are out.
Won't you walk